tend to think of the internet as a completely open space. But while digital information travels instantly across the globe, the laws governing that information hit rigid, invisible walls at every border. Corporate strategy often relies on the old cliché that data is the new oil. In reality, the comparison fails. Unlike oil, unrefined data is a massive legal liability. It can be copied endlessly and is tied directly to the rights of the people who generated it. To see exactly how that liability plays out, let's look at the catastrophic breach of a global fitness app called SmartFit. The compromised files exposed highly sensitive information, identifiable names, real-time biometric heart rates, and precise GPS location histories. The app was developed in one country, hosted on cloud servers in another, and downloaded by users worldwide. Because of this architecture, SmartFit is suddenly subject to conflicting international privacy laws, all at the exact same time. The first major regulatory hurdle sits here, in the legislative chamber of the European Parliament. The European Union enforces the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. This framework codifies data privacy as a fundamental, unified human right for every citizen across the entire continent. When a company violates that right, regulators can levy fines up to 4% of annual global turnover, or 20 million euros. Applied to SmartFit, that penalty consumes their entire operational budget. A technical IT failure creates a direct threat of bankruptcy. Global companies cannot treat European data protection as a regional compliance chore. The severity of the penalties forces it to become an inescapable baseline requirement for the whole organization. The environment changes entirely in the US. This image of the United States Capitol building represents a completely different legal philosophy, as there is no single overarching federal privacy law equivalent to the GDPR. US law is fractured by sector. The HIPAA framework applies strict rules to specific healthcare data, but a commercial fitness app like SmartFit falls outside that jurisdiction, leaving massive regulatory gaps. The landscape is fractured further by state borders. This is the California state capital, where lawmakers enforce the CCPA, a strict set of regional rules that tech companies must navigate independently of federal law. On the left, a heavily armored vault represents technical data security. SmartFit used encryption to lock the information away. On the right, an unauthorized contract represents the privacy failure, a lack of legal consent to collect that sensitive data in the first place. To survive the U.S. legal framework, an organization has to constantly monitor and adapt to dozens of shifting, localized regulations, rather than adhering to one unified standard. A data breach is an irreversible event. No security update or policy change applied after the fact can pull sensitive biometric profiles or location histories back from the public domain once they have been exposed. This blueprint shows the new engineering standard, privacy by design. Shields are embedded into the foundation from the start. The architecture uses data minimization, actively rejecting non-vital nodes, like contacts, and accepting only the essential. It utilizes privacy by default, keeping all data sharing switches locked off. This proactive architectural approach replaces the traditional habit of building software quickly and relying on an IT security firewall to block threats later. Data governance is often viewed as a bureaucratic roadblock. In reality, it is the enabling framework that allows a company to build the lasting user trust required to operate in the digital economy. We tend to think of the internet as a completely open space. But while digital information travels instantly across the globe, the laws governing that information hit rigid, invisible walls at every border. Corporate strategy often relies on the old cliché that data is the new oil. In reality, the comparison fails. Unlike oil, unrefined data is a massive legal liability. It can be copied endlessly and is tied directly to the rights of the people who generated it. To see exactly how that liability plays out, let's look at the catastrophic breach of a global fitness app called SmartFit. The compromised files exposed highly sensitive information, identifiable names, real-time biometric heart rates, and precise GPS location histories. The app was developed in one country, hosted on cloud servers in another, and downloaded by users worldwide. Because of this architecture, SmartFit is suddenly subject to conflicting international privacy laws, all at the exact same time. The first major regulatory hurdle sits here, in the legislative chamber of the European Parliament. The European Union enforces the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. This framework codifies data privacy as a fundamental, unified human right for every citizen across the entire continent. When a company violates that right, regulators can levy fines up to 4% of annual global turnover, or 20 million euros. Applied to SmartFit, that penalty consumes their entire operational budget. A technical IT failure creates a direct threat of bankruptcy. Global companies cannot treat European data protection as a regional compliance chore. The severity of the penalties forces it to become an inescapable baseline requirement for the whole organization. The environment changes entirely in the US. This image of the United States Capitol building represents a completely different legal philosophy, as there is no single overarching federal privacy law equivalent to the GDPR. US law is fractured by sector. The HIPAA framework applies strict rules to specific healthcare data, but a commercial fitness app like SmartFit falls outside that jurisdiction, leaving massive regulatory gaps. The landscape is fractured further by state borders. This is the California state capital, where lawmakers enforce the CCPA, a strict set of regional rules that tech companies must navigate independently of federal law. On the left, a heavily armored vault represents technical data security. SmartFit used encryption to lock the information away. On the right, an unauthorized contract represents the privacy failure, a lack of legal consent to collect that sensitive data in the first place. To survive the US legal framework, an organization has to constantly monitor and adapt to dozens of shifting, localized regulations, rather than adhering to one unified standard. A data breach is an irreversible event. No security update or policy change applied after the fact can pull sensitive biometric profiles or location histories back from the public domain once they have been exposed. This blueprint shows the new engineering standard, privacy by design. Shields are embedded into the foundation from the start. The architecture uses data minimization, actively rejecting non-vital nodes, like contacts, and accepting only the essential. It utilizes privacy by default, keeping all data-sharing switches locked off. This proactive architectural approach replaces the traditional habit of building software quickly and relying on an IT security firewall to block threats later. Data governance is often viewed as a bureaucratic roadblock. In reality, it is the enabling framework that allows a company to build the lasting user trust required to operate in the digital economy. We tend to think of the internet as a completely open space, but while digital information travels instantly across the globe, the laws governing that information hit rigid, invisible walls at every border. Corporate strategy often relies on the old cliché that data is the new oil. In reality, the comparison fails. Unlike oil, unrefined data is a massive legal liability. It can be copied endlessly and is tied directly to the rights of the people who generated it. To see exactly how that liability plays out, let's look at the catastrophic breach of a global fitness app called SmartFit. The compromised files exposed highly sensitive information, identifiable names, real-time biometric heart rates, and precise GPS location histories. The app was developed in one country, hosted on cloud servers in another, and downloaded by users worldwide. Because of this architecture, SmartFit is suddenly subject to conflicting international privacy laws, all at the exact same time. The first major regulatory hurdle sits here, in the legislative chamber of the European Parliament. The European Union enforces the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. This framework codifies data privacy as a fundamental, unified human right for every citizen across the entire continent. When a company violates that right, regulators can levy fines up to 4% of annual global turnover, or 20 million euros. Applied to SmartFit, that penalty consumes their entire operational budget. A technical IT failure creates a direct threat of bankruptcy. Global companies cannot treat European data protection as a regional compliance chore. The severity of the penalties forces it to become an inescapable baseline requirement for the whole organization. The environment changes entirely in the US. This image of the United States Capitol building represents a completely different legal philosophy, as there is no single overarching federal privacy law equivalent to the GDPR. U.S. law is fractured by sector. The HIPAA framework applies strict rules to specific healthcare data, but a commercial fitness app like SmartFit falls outside that jurisdiction, leaving massive regulatory gaps. The landscape is fractured further by state borders. This is the California state capital, where lawmakers enforce the CCPA, a strict set of regional rules that tech companies must navigate independently of federal law. On the left, a heavily armored vault represents technical data security. SmartFit used encryption to lock the information away. On the right, an unauthorized contract represents the privacy failure, a lack of legal consent to collect that sensitive data in the first place. To survive the U.S. legal framework, an organization has to constantly monitor and adapt to dozens of shifting, localized regulations, rather than adhering to one unified standard. A data breach is an irreversible event. No security update or policy change applied after the fact can pull sensitive biometric profiles or location histories back from the public domain once they have been exposed. This blueprint shows the new engineering standard, privacy by design. Shields are embedded into the foundation from the start. The architecture uses data minimization, actively rejecting non-vital nodes, like contacts, and accepting only the essential. It utilizes privacy by default, keeping all data sharing switches locked off. This proactive architectural approach replaces the traditional habit of building software quickly and relying on an IT security firewall to block threats later. Data governance is often viewed as a bureaucratic roadblock. In reality, it is the enabling framework that allows a company to build the lasting user trust required to operate in the digital economy. We tend to think of the internet as a completely open space, but while digital information travels instantly across the
Good evening, class.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are all of you? How are you doing?
We are surviving by His grace.
When you say you are surviving, what do you really mean by you are surviving? Are you not surviving? Were you not surviving already? Mhm. So for the past 4 weeks or something that I've been meeting, what were you doing? You are still surviving.
Yes, we are, day in, day out, you keep surviving.
Okay.
Whatever
So,
the world throws at us, we take it as it is.
hey, boss, are you sure?
Yes, bro.
Is that really what you want to do? Anyway, yeah, welcome back again to data governance. And our text today takes us to chapter 6. Last week we did some interesting tests, which some of you were surprised with. By. And there'll be more of it as we go ahead. But I hope you are also preparing to submit your project, your your project work, the group work.
Yes,
If you
bro.
have not yet, yes. When are you supposed to submit it?
Tomorrow, sir.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Sir, a quick
So
question, please.
you are submitting only the word version. The PowerPoint will come when you're doing presentation. So
Mhm.
don't be worried about the PowerPoint part. The communication plan is part of what you present when you're doing a presentation. But as of now, you are presenting only the word version. Yeah. So let's have our class today. Maybe after the class, I'll consider maybe extending by a few days, depending on where class is like actively, or it's just like cohort one.
Oh, sir, we are not like that.
You one.
What is the bad seed, though?
Don't worry. They are trying to redeem themselves. Maybe they will. I don't know. Me, I'm just watching them. When the lecturer gives you the warning, that time you have actually crossed um, the possible redemption that can have. So let's not get there in this class. By the way, how many people have been able to pick a copy of the book? Because it's making it difficult to give work and assignments from it without coming to post the whole document for it to be fair. So those of you who have not been able to get it, try and get it or share with somebody. So in this class, how many people have it? Let me call the people. Anthony, do you have it?
No, sir.
Okay,
Stella has
call the-
promised you one, but she hasn't bought it yet.
I hear you. You were using those statements to say that somebody has promised you. So the whole class, nobody has one. Anna, you don't have one.
Sir, I do.
Anna has one.
Yeah, sir. Hanan, sir.
Anan has one. Okay, Hanan.
Yes.
I have one.
Stella says she has one. Yeah. Anthony, go and buy your own. Nobody's buying for you.
Sir, don't mind him. He can share with me. He just doesn't want to. Don't mind him.
Okay.
But then, like, come on.
Okay. So this is what I don't want to happen. It gets to examination time, and then you realize that you need to go and get a book, and you now be scouting for the book. I'll give you why I'm saying that. Examination, when you have that time being the time that you have to go and get a book, it might be too late for you. So I leave the rest in your hands, whichever one you want to do.
But I'll go and buy it and sell it to them at a higher price.
The reason I'm saying that you don't have a lot of the copies of the book, and then the undergrads are using it. You are three groups also using it, and I've got some MBA students who also have used it. So if anything finishes, don't be jumping around for about it. The rest is that's the little advice I'll give you. Okay, so thank you very much. Today we are looking at global privacy landscape, the laws that affect the way data governance is done at the at the global level. The last time that we met, and I give you the reading to do, we got to understand two policies that come from Ghana, the data protection one and then the Cyber Security Act. Those two play a very key role in kind of governing human behavior around data and around information security in the country. But today we are taking it a little bit and stepping out to the global level, in which you have got laws that are coming from the European Union, laws that are coming from the US, and then some of the new, um, let's say, the methodologies or approaches that people are using to address and prevent the privacy breach. So to continue, I will just cover the GDPR part of the US laws and then try to apply to some of the cases that are in the book. And that's another issue we are having. We can't discuss the case too much in detail if we don't have the background. Okay, so this one say that you're an analyst in Accra, user in, and you have a user in Berlin. Okay, so you have a system that you have deployed. The server is in California. Whose law applies? Is it that anything that happens, you are going to think about your laws in Ghana or your laws in the Europe or what's happening in California? You are building a model in Accra on data about a person living in Berlin, hosted on infrastructure in California. Which of the three laws apply? Is it all the three laws or only the two? You have watched the video. So let me just get your feedback now. Is it all the three laws that apply or only two or only all of them or only one of them? Yes, please. You have watched the video about 3 times. You should be able to answer this question. Or I give you a caveat. If I chase you to answer questions, I will change the way I'm teaching. I'm telling you the truth. What Court One has done, it applies to all of you. So if you give me any kind of I don't want to respond, I will sit down and Prof should do the teaching. I'll change the way I'm teaching. I've poured myself to you. I've given you everything for you. I've got slides, you have got stuff. I upload those, all those things, but I even give you video summaries. And you come to class and you just sit down. Anyway, I'm preparing my own notes for the continuator. Now I'm going to be very strict, and I will also mention certain things. Anthony, today I will give you a list of people who don't participate in class. No, rather those who participate. I will pull out those who don't participate in class, and I'll make official complaint on them. Okay, so I've drawn my line. So those who participate, I won't call you if you raise your hand. Evangelina, I ask a question. Let me hear it from you. Okay, so you can take notes.
But I think maybe to apply to California for both of the sellers.
I can't hear anything you say.
Really,
Yeah, Evangelina.
I'm saying to apply in California. Yeah.
I didn't say where to apply. I asked the question that you're not even reading what is on the slide. I asked the question that which of these three things will apply. And you are mentioning California.
Oh, so
Is there any can I mention it? Are you actually reading what is on the slide on the screen?
yeah, I am.
It's okay. You let me move on. Georgina, you can attempt. Anthony, write Evangelina's name as the first person.
Good evening, Prof.
Yes, please.
And please, I was a little distracted. Can you go over? I'm on my way home. Please, can you go over the question again?
Okay, so Anthony, put down Georgina's name, Georgina Oka's name as the second person. Okay, Millicent and Megavi.
Prof, I think to apply in all three.
To apply in all three. Okay.
Yes.
Okay then. Thank you very much. That's your view.
Yes,
Mary
yes.
Woman.
Sir, please, I think it will be the EU law because the data is about a person living in Berlin, so the EU law would apply.
Okay, that's a very interesting perspective. I like the way you have defended it and given a caveat to it. Okay, Cosmos Macaulay.
Mockley, Prof.
Mockley. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, please.
So,
Go ahead.
yeah, I think all the three will apply. All the three laws will apply because from the video, they mentioned that some of the laws were broken in the various countries. So definitely all the three laws will apply here.
Please, the video story is different from this one. No. Really
Yeah,
look at this one very carefully.
yeah, no, in the
This
video,
one,
it said that,
the video was about a fitness app. This one is not about a fitness app. Read what is there. You are building a
yes,
model in Accra on data.
yes. I think for this one,
So
all the
where is
three laws.
it? All those who are saying all the three laws should apply. Do you understand what you're saying? Anyway, yes, George Disu.
Yeah, so I think all the three laws will apply, but they govern, um, different
Why all the three?
parts.
I can't just say all the three laws will apply. You have to read the thing you are reading very well.
So first, looking at the user in Berlin, EU law, which specifically applies to the GDPR, under some article be under the GDPR, individuals located in EU where their data is processed or their behavior, regardless of where the analyst sits, right? And then the second, looking at the analyst, which the Ghanaian law applies to, because the actual processing and modeling occur physically in Accra. The Data Protection Act governs our actions. And then the third, looking
First,
at
I
the
asked you
server,
for what?
right? Which
Take your
US
time,
and
George. Take your time. You're analyst in Ghana
hello?
working on. Yes, I said take your time. You are analyst in Ghana working on data that resides somewhere
Okay.
else, and you are saying that the data protection act to apply. How will it apply?
So the act,
You are sitting on the computer.
the act states that when you are processing personal data of foreign subjects, like we are legally required to comply with the.
Which part says that you're not processing a personal data of a Ghanaian? You're not processing. You're not. Are you actually processing the data in Ghana? Think about it carefully. Your computer is connected to a server abroad. You are clicking A, B, C, D. Are you processing the server in Ghana, or you have? If you have printed a thing from the computer and you are holding it, then it's a different story. But if it's on the computer and nobody is standing by you and you're the only one looking at it there, are you processing the data in Ghana? So please understand what you're actually reading. So the most important thing that all of you should have done is that I'm not saying anybody is wrong or right. Look at the last question. Who will actually come after you and with what? And when will the person come after you? So something has to happen for one or any of the laws to apply. If you are processing a user's data when a person is from Berlin, the first person who said GDPR will apply is true. But apart from processing that data, which is working on the user's data in Berlin, the rest of the things, it depends on what has happened. Hmm? It depends on what has happened. The server is in California. If there's a breakdown of the server or the server facility is hacked or something like that, some things in California could affect you, but you have to know what is the California policy in terms of privacy. Then when you talk about Ghana, you have to look at the clauses in Ghana and understand that whose data are you processing. And when you say you're processing somebody's data in the country, what does it really mean? What does it really mean? Is it about you going to the computer and then clicking, moving the thing from Excel to maybe do a calculation in Excel, and the thing is still stored and saved not on your machine but on the machine in California? So is the data being processed in Ghana, or the thinking behind it, or you're accessing the data from Ghana? I think you need to be able to understand these things very, very well. Otherwise, you either scare somebody or you end up bringing policies that you can actually be able to manage. In fact, should I say even manage the policies that you not be able to apply when the court of law? Because which aspect which aspect of the policy are you going to use to hold somebody? So go into the Data Protection Act and understand where what will apply to what. Mm. That's why I said who will actually come after you and with what. So when you're answering this question in any place in the exam, know what you are saying and know what scenarios you are using to be able to explain your point. I don't like marking blank answers. It applies to all. It applies to only this. I like to mark explanation. So somebody can say it applies to EU and explain it very well, and I will accept. Somebody can say it applies to Ghana and explain it very poorly, or does not even know what he's talking about, or even explain it very well in his view, but it may be error. Somebody will say it applies to all three without giving him the caveats. What does it apply to all three? Mm. So it's very, very important that we are careful. This week something has come on the media about some guy called forgotten the name, some social media guy who has heart sentence.
Checker.
No, no, not Buku Trika. Some guy who has also videoed the ladies and is putting on the line and has been dragging them in East Legon. It happened during the December to whatever, December, 30 December or December to remember. I don't follow these things, but
The Russian guy.
So
the
No,
Russian,
African.
he's a
He's
Ghanaian.
called
He's
so
into
African.
fashion. Yeah,
So Africa or something like that. Good.
he's into
Yeah,
fashion.
good. And if you look at how they arrested the person and things, you realize that the actual crime was taking place in Ghana. It took the people whose videos were recorded to report it in the US for US to contact Ghana to really go and arrest the guy, the gentleman. But where did they find the video? They found the video actually on what? Telegram. And where is Telegram house? So the person, the Telegram platform, yes, somebody was trying to say something. Frank, were you saying something?
No, sir, continue. I have a question, but I think when you continue, the understanding will come. So,
Uh, but Frank, I'm not saying I know everything. No. I'm just trying to apply what we are learning to it so that we can have a good discussion. So no, don't nobody should take a point that prophecies is this. So if I go to exam, I'm going to write about prophecies. I said I mark what understanding, and this is not what I said.
yes, Prof. That's what you said.
You are the only one in the class. Okay, so the question is that who will come after you? So in this guy's place, CID has come after him. US government has come after him. But wherever Telegram is hosted, the country there has not come after him. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So, because in Telegram, the laws about the policies about uploading certain videos and things, so far as you own the video, I think it's very, very sketchy. It seems everybody can put certain things there. Nobody is actually going after anybody, like happened with the Russian one, which I hear that he's put more other videos from different countries there, and nobody has shut down the thing on Telegram. So yes, please, Christiana, go ahead.
Prof, please, I want to find out. So, the first one says you are building a model. Oh, sorry, Prof, please.
So,
So it says you are building a model in Accra on data about a person living in Berlin. Now,
yes.
from what I understand, if you are building the model as an analyst, it means you are the one who is going to process the data of the person that is living in Berlin. And so I think
Are
for
you are you sure, are you sure the one processing it, or the computer is the one processing?
you are the one so you have the data of the person, you are using it to build up. So this is how I
So,
understand.
so, so let me just explain something to you. If thieves break into your house and they get access to that model that you are doing, and it helps them to also see some sample data, you are in trouble. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Good. So you have to go into the what's the name? The Data Protection Act and look at whether in processing data, the Data Protection Act was mainly written for the Ghanaian citizens' rights and the rights of the companies and the rights of anybody that maybe his data may be based in the country, being used and processed in the country. I hope you understand me. So if you pick a US, European Union person's data, as soon as you touch their data, their resident data, the EU GDPR will come after you. The same way too that if you are processing a Ghanaian data abroad, it will come, Data Protection Act will come after you. If your server room gets hacked in California, things in policies in California will come after that particular place that was hacked, and it could actually also has an implication on you. So, in principle, you should understand all the policies and which aspects will affect you at what time, so that when something happens, you know who is coming to knock on your door. That is what I was trying to establish. Not that somebody is right or not, because some issues, nobody will come from US to come and like what happened in Ghana concerning the Russian person. I don't see. I don't. Who knows where Telegram's data is hosted? I have not actually checked. Nobody from that country has come to Ghana to come and hold anything responsible. The guy, even the Russian person, even in Russia, certain things Russia couldn't even go after him. I remember our minister saying that you can contact the Russian this thing. To what I know, I don't think anybody in Russia has arrested the person.
Prof, is it because our minister hasn't pushed much
No,
enough for that case to be?
he said he had a meeting with the Russian ambassador in Ghana or the commissioner or whoever was rep in Ghana. Even had a meeting with them. The jurisdiction and what applies is very interesting. I don't know whether you have been following Mape's argument with the lawmaker in Paraguay who insulted and called him a monkey at the first. And then Mape came back and said certain things. Initially, he was polite and later he said certain things. Now they are saying that what he said is a defamation in their country. So they can take him on. But what she said in their country is not, it has not broken any law. I was surprised.
Yes, I read that.
I'm trying to tell you, in their country, that's what he said in describing a black person is that he has not broken any law. But anything else he has said more, you have come after their parliamentarian. So just imagine that if he doesn't take care and this gentleman passes through any country in which there's a Paraguay has a residency. That and he, just in case like you come to Ghana and you pass through the Paraguay's ambassadors of dinner, they can arrest you there because it's part of their ground. So it's like you have been declared wanted by Paraguay if the lady wants to go, and which is very, very funny. And it's because and when I was reading certain things about the Paraguayan law, I was asking, wow, interesting. So you as for you, the person has egg and can come up to, but I don't see I've not yet read anything from France government or France FA to protect MAPI. But we are seeing things coming from lawmakers from Paraguay to protect their own, which is very, very funny. So the other question is that who will also enforce what you are saying is something has been broken. That's how I asked you, who come. You see, this is the last question. Who actually come after you? Is it the state, the federal, or some policeman? Who come after you? That's the question. Who is actually come after you? You may be even a country that people don't read the policy. So the Ghana police, until you go and beg them, they say we don't have plane ticket to go and bring the guy. What would you do? So who come after you? Yes, George.
Okay, so Prof, so it means what you're saying is like the GDP is what governs me as the analyst, right? And then the EU law will protect the person in the person whose data was affected in Berlin. Then the what do you call it? The US and in the US law
the
would
DPR is about privacy in Ghana. What go and read it, whether it affects you in any particular way. I'm not saying that it doesn't affect, but I would have wanted you to talk about the Cyber Security Act. That one has much more strength in covering you because you actually the machine that you have has to be secure. I hope you understand that. That's the aspect of the security is what I was talking about privacy.
Yeah.
That's why I talked about that
So
one.
it means that the immediate
security, but you need to be able to have security to enforce privacy. So I mentioned the very first time they met that security, if you look at we're looking at an onion model, privacy was embedded within security, if you remember very well. Even last week, you're very class, you even saw the diagram, if you remember. Okay. Yeah, please continue. Finalize so that I can be able to get to our slides. Yeah. Oh, George, have you gone off?
Yeah, so yes. So I was saying that so just like the South Africans case, right? The Berlin law would notify the GDPR, right, to take action against the analyst.
So Africans own is more about, I think American, those who came more were Americans, for the 13th December. I don't know, but that's what they were saying. So people in the US, I think, reached out to Ghana, and then Ghana, they didn't even know it was their own. They said the guy sedated them. So some of them had very partial memory of what had happened to them. So it is after the story started surfacing online, and they started putting two that this is what happened, and they saw their own videos. Maybe some relatives and other things sent video about them to them. Then they started realizing that this was has happened. And that's what surprises me is that all the time, Ghana, we are the last person to hear. So I'm asking myself that our team, are we not on top of issues? And so the guy should have done this thing is easily gone for some time now. Celebrities know this guy. Nobody reported it until Ghana. I don't think the white people who came down to Ghana were the first people that happened to them. Or the people who it happened to in Ghana, they are afraid to go and report. Remember one question I asked, who will come after you? I was listening to a story that the guy is friends with a lot of big people in Ghana. And even some of you may even have some of his fashion line stuff, and you may like his designs. So I'm just trying to put across that we have to be very careful of what we are holding as a policy and the enforcement of the policy. One, do our security agencies even know the policy that well? Are they equipped with the the current mode of operations and the current monitoring mechanisms and technology to be on top of it? On top of it. And then lastly, to be able to also enforce it without political interference. That's also another issue. Okay, so George, I'm not. I may have set up a debate, but I'm not trying to say that I have the perfect answers. I'm trying to say the law is a law. That's the best way for me to say. The law is the law. So when the thing happens, then we look into the law to see what we can do about it. What we can do about it. Stephen Boating is telling us that Telegram data centers are found in a number of countries, including Singapore, Netherlands, Amsterdam, and Netherlands, Amsterdam. I don't know the same. Okay, so and then US. So technically, um, the question is that where is the data that's about you on Telegram? Where is it stored? Well, if they are saying these three countries, it could be that your data is not in USA. So the US people can come after you, come after the guy. But yours, if it's in Netherlands, it's even worse because the laws in Netherlands concerning prostitution and all those kinds is very, very loose. It's well established. The legalities stands there a lot for something, some type of behaviors. So if you're not very careful, you may not be able to use that one to protect yourself. Singapore may be the best bet that I think they can really come and come after you. But some of the other European countries, it will be very difficult to go arrest whoever was putting the video there. The other question that maybe comes up is that on whose authority can we call that the videos of those girls should be pulled off from the Telegram page? That's what the question I've even been asking myself today. Because if you write right now, the page is for an individual, it's not for a company. Number two, sometimes the encryption on the page where it does the passwords and stuff is like what Apple does with the iPhone. It could be that it could have been done in such a way that even Telegram can access the person's account and delete something without the person's permission. Like what iPhone has done to the iPhone, that if someone puts a type of password on it, they themselves can't open it. I don't know whether I've read over those stories before. So that iPhone the person used to even film the person you. If the police confiscate if the police go after it and they'll be able to confiscate from him, what happens is that to be able to open it, you need the guy's permission to open it. Otherwise, the evidence on this you cannot even use it. The only way you can say you can get him is the one he has uploaded on the what's the name on the Instagram, no, the Telegram page. So if he didn't even upload on the Telegram page, it will be very difficult for us to have evidence if he doesn't give us the password. The digital platform, the digital world is very, very protective of its own self. The same protections you are put there to protect you sometimes protect the criminal. Please, am I making sense here?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Prof.
Prof.
Thank you very much. So any
Present.
organization. Yes. So let's now get into the details. Hey, please, we have not finished answering that question. We are not going to look at what the policy said. Then see now we can reflect on the question again. I'm enjoying those who are actually engaging me. Yes, Anne Marie.
Hello, sir. Please, it's okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, Anne Marie. You have a nice voice. You come and then give us just a teaser. We'll come back for more. We'll come back for more. David Amma, if you're not going to ask a question, stop laughing. We are not doing concept party here. Anyway, all your sins are forgiven from last week, David. Okay, so let's continue. Any organization, wherever it sits, that processes the personal data of people, you see the word is personal data, residing the EU must comply. So that's how Ghana's own tool, I think it's a little bit, it's quite framed that way. A firm in Accra or San Francisco is bound by its instant it's attached, by the instant it touches the EU resident data. So it applies to the person in the UK, the California as a country that is hosting the server. The server itself is hosting the data of the EU person. It applies to Ghana, who has a computer that accesses the platform. But my problem with that one is that if the person has a tablet and using VPN and going around the thing and using it, and he's sitting between Ghana border and Togo border. Who is coming after him? It's very interesting. Okay. Please, the judge, I'm coming. It came in force in 2018 May. It has shaped how organizations everywhere handle the personal data. Why analysts must care? Analysts sit at the point where data is collected, processed, and turned into insight. Exactly where the regulation bites. No longer optional for anyone entering a data-driven profession. Working knowledge of GDPR is a baseline skill that you should have. Sometimes they even ask you in your application. Now, what does the thing say? One, lawfulness. Please, you can download it from the internet. I have summarized here, and you can also get a part of it in the book. But I have summarized some key things about it. Among these principles are 7 of them I'm echoing here. 1, lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. What it requires, a legitimate basis, consent and contract, handled fairly and openly. People have right to know what is being collected about them and why you are collecting it. So that's 1. So number 2, you need consent or contract to be able to handle the data. You can't just say you are chancing on the data. You need consent. Even the data has been anonymized, you still need some type of consent from the person who anonymized and gave it to you, or contract for even the contract is an open contract, meaning that he has put it there and it's for Creative Commons. You still have to obey the Creative Commons principles of what you can share and the attribution you should give to the data. All of them have to be obeyed. Purpose limitation. Data is collected for a stated purpose, cannot be repurposed. So if I collected it to be able to process your admission to University of Manchester, I cannot give it to Ghana government to be able to know how many Ghanaians are there so that we can check their whether we should give them get fund or not. It is wrong. That's what it's telling you. You didn't collect it because you want to give it to Ghanaian government. Ghanaian government can request that please give us a list of people who are Ghanaians who are in good standing academically so that we will renew their get fund money. And then that one you can comply. But you can't hand over the data about them. You are just giving them the names of those so they can get their scholarship because you also want your money. But you can't give them that they got 22 in mathematics, 23 in English, 24 in this, that kind of stuff. It is the data, it has hit. Now, you know, when you when you get a visa to go to the UK and live there, you are now a lawful alien. I don't know whether a legal alien. I think that the time I was there, that's what's called. So you are an alien, but you've got legal right to be there for a particular period. At that time that you are there, the thing is covering you. In fact, that data that is captured about you, even if you live there and go, so far as University of Manchester data, it is still, and it has other people's data in it, it is still sacred for the EU. You can't just get up and go to University of Manchester and pick the data because you are Ghanaian. When you were going to the database, you didn't write that if you are Ghanaian, you use green form. If you are non-Ghanaian, you use red form. No, you all apply to the same website, and the data was captured. Okay. So go, please, as I'm explaining, if you have a question, raise your hand. Don't let me finish everything before we get confused. Okay, George. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry to take it, but the analogy, right? I just have a legitimate question. If in a situation where the California server gets hacked because they messed up their security or something, right? Do we as the analyst in Ghana get dragged into it, and punished by the local data protection commission, or does all the blame go straight to the cloud provider in the US?
Okay, so Ghana, the data of Ghanaians are not in it, so it doesn't affect nothing in Ghana will affect you, unless somebody can prove that negligence came from you, and the passwords were you give your password to your wife, and your wife give to the pastor, the pastor give to the child, and then the hacking is coming from a network of people coming from Ghana. Then that one they can come and carry you to the US. You see
Okay.
what happened to Abu Trika? Yes.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
That's how I'm telling you the truth. Even when I was looking at Abu Trika's on, I was telling that woman who is walking around there is the wife, everything showing up your face. I said, what you are doing, if you don't take care, they want to extend the case. They can come and carry you, unless you want to go and see US. They can come and carry you. He can come and carry you. And if a doctor, the lawyers, if they was able to track that payment from some of the monies that he got have been used to pay you, or he even confessed that he used to pay you, U.S. government has any right to carry you too. Especially if they are tracking their money. So I plead with you that the things we are here. Can you imagine that this 30 December thing that happened to this issue? The US girl or the US or the UK or whoever who was videoed. Maybe let's say a lady called Sarah, maybe living in on campus, is the one who took them out that evening and they met a guy. They could even say that you, the Sarah girl that introduced him to the guy at the nightclub, whatever it is, you know something about the thing. And you have been supplying expatriate to the guy. Because how it come that you are not dragged, you went to the same place, maybe you entered the room with them, but you were able to go home safe. But only them, their videos are there. Maybe the boy is doing is serializing it. Yours he has not yet reached your own. But what I'm trying to say that because the people will tell them that I got
Wrong
to know the
place,
guy.
wrong time.
Yes, I got to know you through you. You took me there. Because these people who came down, they don't even know they may not even know the person. They may not even know the person. Or they may know the person as celebrity, but they may not know how powerful he is as a person. And the guy has lined up the people he wants to use. So please be very careful of how you host people coming through, even your own cousins and stuff. So and it's either way. It's not only here. The person can come down. He's also bringing a problem from the US to you. So it's not only. Sometimes they come back with these flashy things and things, and you say, "Charlie, the guy, my brother is doing well." Then you take his things and you take pictures with him. Maybe I done something there, and he came to hand over the iPhone to you. If you are looking for the iPhone and the track it is in your hands, you are in trouble. Now the laws make it very, very interesting for them to track everybody, and the technologies also make it very easy for them to able to find the device at any time. Anyway, data minimization. Collect only what the purpose actually needs. I remember in the US, I was filling some forms. They told me it was written within that if this form takes you more than 5 minutes to fill, report it here. I never understood it until I started taking my data governance class later in the place. That actually there is a maximum amount of time that you should spend on filling specific forms. So if it takes more than that time, it's more about the fact that you don't collect what is not necessary. And people should be able to also capture, and then you don't compromise people in putting what is not certain types of their information on that particular form. So if it takes you more than this number of this, send this number, call this number. And so they have these policies truly working in their country. Collect only what the purpose actually needs. Collect everything just in case error is over. That's what we do in Ghana. With the GBBR, collect everything. They ask questions, then you feel here, you feel then they give you paper 3, paper 4, and you are feeling it. It is sometimes examination. Yeah, small examination come to write University of Ghana. We are collecting so many things. Some of you, I'm of you ask, this one too. What does the university need it for? Okay, so collect everything that's in case method. That is what we understand. But we don't want to, it doesn't work anymore in the world. So please, those of you are developing policies, don't go and collect everything in your policy. Make sure that you use data minimization in your policy. Accuracy. Personal data must be accurate. Bad data needs to bad analysis and harmful decisions. So there should be measures to be able to check the accuracy of the data that is being given to you. Now, storage limitation. Remember what we learned about last week too. You only keep it up to what time that is necessary for you to keep it. Don't go beyond what is not needed. And you also should understand disposal and retention. Some things are supposed to be disposed, not retained. Some things are supposed to be retained, not disposed. Until get to the time of disposal, then dispose it. So you have to understand these two. Good. And the policy should be there and clear. Keep identifiable data no longer than necessary. Good. Real retention and deletion policy should exist in your organization too. Integrity and confidentiality. Protect data with appropriate technical and organizational measures, such as encryption and access control. Now, I think your own WhatsApp is saying that they are moving to usernames because they are now thinking about making seamless flow of the information. But you see, when WhatsApp was tying all our conversation by phone number, it was a safer route one way because it made me sure that if you get even to the account and the phone number is not activated on it, you can actually be able to do much and monitor the person's new WhatsApp messages. Now the problem about the username is that if we go back to a username, even though it will enhance data transfer, for example, I have iPhone or even I have two different. I have iPhone, I have another Android or Honor phone. If I'm moving to the Honor phone, I can just use my username to log in and to be seamless. I don't need to do those complex transfer processes that is embedded within, or you go through certain websites to get it done, or some of them are embedded within the app. You don't want to go through those things to do so. But if you're not very careful, when you start working with username, it can also give opportunity. I'm hoping and I believe they will do so. They'll put another layer of maybe encryption or whatever it is and to be able to make it more difficult to even have access to somebody's data. They may add some biometrics and other things to it. Yeah. Wallace, are you back in the country? Ghana, Accra proper? You are still gallivanting in
I'm in Accra, in the office precisely. So my question is on the storage limitation. How long
yes,
is it legally to keep data before discarding the data?
Last, if you look at the policy, I think there's something that says that it depends on the institution. So you, the data collector, you should have defined it. That's one of the reasons why DPC, the Data Protection Commission, is very strict on establishing your data governance policies internally with the organizations. You should have your retention period, and it should be well communicated to the person that you are collecting data on. So last time I was reading that one on University of Ghana to you for one of the IT policies. You have to have your own policy that way because it has to be part of the reason why we are even giving you right to collect the data. The reason why is I'm saying that is there's not a one size fits all because certain types of data, for example, in a medical environment, your data has to be there for a longer time for different reasons. Good. And even sometimes for you to even save your own life or life of that of your siblings or your relatives or your children or anybody who is a familiar relation. Good. But in certain parts like universities, certain types of your data is kept. Other types of data too, we are allowed to shred it after 5 years. So the University of Ghana has its own policy for different types of data. So I won't say there is one specific size data policy that says that every data in Ghana should stay for this number of years. It doesn't work that way. The reason why you collected it should even tell you how long you can be able to keep it. Now, the difficulty is the one which is personal collection of the data. Your girlfriend, your former girlfriend having data about you. How do you get it deleted? Your former boyfriend having data about you. How do you get it deleted? And you give everything out. Some of you even open email addresses together. You put it, you start sending emails, sharing that email together. The relationship doesn't work. Something happens. You are going to different parts. You will still use a new username, or you are now forced to change the password to your Facebook, chat password to your Twitter or X password to all kinds of things because the boy knows that all the passwords that you use is ABCD 3389 or Adria Nancy 285, something like that, and dollar sign somewhere. So you have been using this one, the guy knows, so now you're afraid, so you want to change all of them. The problem you have forgotten is that the guy may also have the data itself on his machine, the data itself, certain things that you push shared. Now you are going to believe, that is one thing that we do in Ghana. We believe the person will act in good faith and delete it. But this is a person who is crying and is angry. You went with a friend. So where do you think believe will work? Please, until you say I do with the person and come to the same house, be very careful of what you are sharing. Even those who have done I do, when they are inside, they are even careful what they share. So how much more you as now coming in? Hmm? How much careful? How much careful should you be? You who is now coming in? So please, this is the advice to everybody here. And when you are doing your counseling in the church, also counsel them on how they share data. This is not about faith too. This is that by faith you won't do this, by faith you won't do that. It's the data can be sold for a very good price. So you never knew that you become a vice chancellor. Now you have become a vice chancellor. You have some estranged girlfriend from some whatever, and then the person is trying to use that one against you. Meanwhile, to maybe he's not even in the country. That's what is even boring. He's sitting somewhere in the US or sitting somewhere in Dubai and has been leaking the information. And you want to use Ghana, go arrest her. Where are you arresting her? You don't even know where she is in Dubai. Anyway, so please be very careful of how you share and how you give rights to people. Sometimes it might not be you. There may be a family folder, and you put it. So those of you who every picture of your children, boom, share it on the family page. Share it on the family page. Do you know what your brother is doing? Who uses your brother's phone or your sister's phone? You are sharing everything on the family page. I'm talking about that private WhatsApp page that you all have. But do they understand data protection? Your brothers and sisters that you are sharing with. It is the right thing that you are doing because we want to keep mommy updated. We want to keep everybody updated. I don't have a problem. But I'm just telling that you even have your hospital reports. This is what they say at the hospital. Then you put it there. If the phone of the other person gets compromised, and somebody it can get compromised because somebody knows that you are the sister of somebody, and the person is targeting you, not you, your sister, who is a much more important tradable asset. We are not security conscious because we don't think it will happen here. But what happened recently with the Russian guy and a few things that's happening nowadays should let you know that these things are going on and anybody can fall victim. Please, everyone can fall victim. Accountability accountability. The controller must not only comply, but must be able to demonstrate it. Remember I mentioned through the records of processing activity. So you should be able to show that you go you go all out to be able to protect that data and protect the people who you are protect the privacy of the people who you are processing their data. Okay. Okay. How can I please give me a second? 8 rights that will shape what the analyst will do. This is the user's right. Me that you are collecting my data, my right. 1, I have the right to be informed about what you are collecting and what you are going to use it for in a clear language, not some technical language that I'm collecting 3 terabytes of you with your metadata of this and that, and your var should be 23 characters. There shouldn't be any letter. There shouldn't be any syllable. There shouldn't be any this symbol. All these things you are writing, you are just trying to mislead the person. We don't want it. The policy should be clear. It should be clear. It should be clear about what you're collecting. And when we collect, we should need to verify that you have been collecting only that information and not something else. Somebody says that they just need your first name and last name. Then later they change it that your given names and then and then surname. I don't know what those of you are. So you go to some website, you never see first name as like you see given names and then what's the name? A surname. Then other website, first name, last name, given name, other middle name, other names. You take from now on, take your time and be watching. You see, some people are very, even the developer is confused on what to collect. Okay. Rectification to correct inaccurate results. There should be a way I can address you or contact you so that if I think that there's some problem with the data that you have, I can be able to bring it to attention and I'll be able to verify that you have done it. Not just bring it to attention, verify that you have done it. Most of you here, somebody wrote to me last week, tell me that, Prof, I've been saying I can't find this my result and stuff. You have not done anything about it. Oh God, thank you. As I'm teaching that, I remember the person. Oh, I remember the person, but I've been forgetting what course it was. Hey, I have to go through my emails again. Okay, so what happens here is that the person, oh, it was, I'll check it. But I think I've remembered the course now. Thank you very much. Maybe I should write it down. Now, the restrict processing. I've got the right to restrict processing or restrict the third party that you are trying to give it to process. So when you inform me that you are giving my data to MTN or MTN is giving my data to, let's say, unless there's by legal reasons, and we are giving it to somebody like maybe a court or let's say BNI, that one is okay. But if we are giving my data to Joy FM, and for whatever partnership we have with that, I have every right to say no, don't give my data to Joy FM. I have every right to say that's what it's trying to say. You have every right to stop it. I think Ghana's own to there's a caveat, there's a statement like that in it. To object, including direct marketing. That one I know is in Ghana's own. To object, even including direct marketing. So you don't want your thing to be commercialized, your data. In fact, now I don't know what some of you have realized. Your schools that your children go to, they ask you that we'll be taking pictures in class for to support our social media activities. If your child, you don't want your child to be taking the picture, please sign in this one. And then you don't so that you don't give us consent. Please, has anybody seen that happening in any of your schools, your children's schools, or your cousin's child's school, or your sister's child's school? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Stella. Yeah, good. So that is very important. It's important. Any school that puts your child's picture on the website and you didn't give them any legal right to do so, on their Facebook page, you can go after them and you win. Unless you sign some funny document that you didn't read. Sometimes they do that. We have the right to do, we reserve the right, we reserve the right, that reserve the right. Be very careful. The school is now where we are in data protection because of child molestation and then child trafficking. People are now concerned about who and who, even church. You can't just sweep the camera and you sweep the camera here to a Sunday school, so you are putting the video on social media. That they can come after you, the church. If you're a church leader here, I'm also a Christian, but I'm telling you, we can come after you. You can't sweep the camera anyhow and say that you are positioned. Some people don't want to be even known that they go to your church. I'm not saying it's wrong, because of maybe security reasons. So you can't sweep the camera in Sunday school and then let people's children be put on this and that. Sunday school, this is what happened at Sunday school today, and I am with the teacher, and you are taking pictures of children, and you can't do that. You can't do if you do that, you and the teacher can be coming, but you can all the other children, you have to blur it. Any parent whose picture is put there, he can take you on. In fact, he may take you on in such a way that you will be begging that after that you should leave the church, maybe. Because it's a very serious offense that you are doing. Because when they come to say Sunday school, you didn't tell them that their children's pictures will be put on your church website. And what is happening is that some of the web developers don't have pictures. So they go to somebody's picture and pick that one and then use it to do another person's video or another person's artwork. The last thing is that they also put it in ChatGTP that create a similar scene. So now yours now is data. Your child's picture is now a data for somebody else LLM. Somebody else so that to produce other images. So if you don't take care, you start seeing pictures that look like your child's dress or your your face and your child's face in other places, and you start asking that isn't all Ghanaians do the same? It's not like all Ghanaians. You are the one. You are the subject that they are populating, and because that picture you took is so nice, And Joy FM has used it. Now after Joy FM City took it, now some funny blogs have taken it. Kojo Blue has taken it. Adra Menu has taken it. All these people have taken it, and they keep on going. One day somebody will show up in your school and say that I'm AC's auntie. Look at the pictures I have with AC, and you carry AC away. Because at the end of the day, he can also now take the picture and put himself in the wedding or the party, and then that he was also there, which is very easy. You can recreate the scene. So please be very, very careful. I know that God has blessed you, but uploading everything online, please be careful. Be careful. The criminal doesn't know which of them that God bless you. Don't touch that one. And then this one, God didn't bless you, can touch it. He doesn't know the difference. He's looking for data. Mm. Mm. Okay, so some hands came up. Let me just address those hands that came up. Please, those who bought your hands, you can come back again so that I can address it. Because we are now at of access. That's another section. So we'll go. So I'll start from those who have not talked to today. AJ Riverson. Keverson, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Prof. I just wanted to find out, using the MTN example, if, for instance, MTN submits information to the regulator and the student doing his or her thesis request the regulator to provide that information, should they seek consent from MTN before giving that data to the student?
Question is that when MTN submitted, who now owns the data? That's where the jurisdiction is. Because the current controller now is, for what purpose did MTN sign? You see why the European Union one is good? They're only for the purpose for which you collected it. So if you didn't collect it for research purposes and not third-party research purposes, send the person to MTN. That's what I'll tell NCA, in my view. Well, if the purpose was for his regulatory duties, then I have no right to give it to you. But if you want to know who are in good standing in reporting, I can give that one information to you. Number two, because you are a regulator and for security reasons, maybe the data I'm sending from you from my MTN is not anonymized because you are the regulator. You may want to track why is a particular set of people happening, why is this type of network of conversation taking place on campus. So you want to know whether it's going from lecturers to students or students to lecturers. It's possible. So the regulator may not, it's like your details are given by your bank to Bank of Ghana without anonymizing it. Bank of Ghana knows your account number. That's why they say that if there's any dormant account, send it to us. They know the person already, so send it to us. So what you ask is a very good question. The question is about the regulator, why you collected, what type of data was shared with the regulator, and what is the regulator gave in consent that I can use the data for. If the regulator said that he's using it for your regulatory duties, that was a different issue. But what I'm trying to, somebody says what? Some things must be taken to the grave. Let me give you a story. When you're asking about MTN, not MTN, this one. When I was doing my master's and I started my PhD, I knew somebody who was married, and he had come to do a course in the UK, but he didn't trust the wife. So he told his friends, this is somewhere 2003, 2008, 2006, 2005. He told his friends in one of the telcos that he should give the printout of the phone calls, the call log of the wife, so that he could track who he's talking to. You see what I'm talking about? Allegedly, from what I heard, he had that detail, and that had that information of who the wife was talking to. So that he, in terms of the numbers, who was calling that frequently, so that he could use it to do his own investigation, so that by the time he finishes his masters and come down, whatever it can come down, he has ammunition to support his whatever he wants to do. Question I ask myself that you are sitting here. Who is your woman going to ask for to be able to track you? That you are going to this extent, you are doing that to the woman in Ghana. And this your friend in whatever telco, whatever it is breaking the law million times to even let you even know. Not even giving the information to you is even worse. Even letting you know that this number called your wife is even wrong. Whether he told you by mouth or he told you by text or what, it's wrong. It's illegal. You come I don't have evidence. So me, I had it I had it on the street. Let me go shut up. I had it on the street. So look after me. I had it on the street. But this is the truth. The issue that I'm just trying to point out that sometimes the people who are sitting in front of the data are the ones who are also making. Look at the problem we have right now that blue collar it doesn't need anybody's advice permission. It is creating a database already as you are calling. So I call some people say, "Oh, professor," and I said, "It's the first time you're calling professor." So I use Truecaller. They asked me, I said, "What is it?" I'm not using Truecaller, but funny enough, any student who is using Truecaller and my details, those details are being shared with Truecaller. So globally, your number is known. Once you have not given anybody consent. So I wish Truecaller could actually tell us how the number got into their database. So you can do a kind of a social network analysis to tell you that it came from this person and this person and this. Then we know on what ways to use these people know you for your data to go to this. Then we can be able to track certain things. It's very interesting what to reveal. Anyway, Wallace and Cosmos. So Wallace can go after Cosmos.
Okay, sir, with regards to the ownership of the data, I would like you to clarify that because if I
Let me
collect the data,
explain it to you. You created MTA created the data.
yes, sir.
They gave it to NCA. But do you know why they
Yes.
gave it to them? If they give it them for their regulatory duties, NCA takes it and will work on it again. Compare it to that of data, and they will use it to generate a report. If you go to their website, they have got statistics. So the data you go and request for, you may not get the actual, it has now been processed. So now the data that you are requesting for, that process form belong to who? NCA.
Okay. Okay. So in a situation where a ministry's directorate collects data within the ministry, report is done. Is it the directorate who owns the data or the mother ministry?
It depends on your your relationship with the because if your existence by law is because of the ministry, then whatever you have, it belongs to it. So business schools data is owned by the University of Ghana.
Not by business school.
But business school has not registered with DPC. It is the University of Ghana has registered with DPC. So who has
Okay, thank
registered?
you. Thank you very much, sir.
You guys are asking very good questions, so which can be examinable.
Sir, don't bring this because we've argued and debated on this. So it's okay. Thank you, sir.
Somebody has put something there that a Kenyan man has moved to court to sue the popular to the same thing I said. In the lawsuit obtained by Kenyan and the Kenyans.co.ke, the petition complained that the app violated the privacy of the mobile phone user by disclosing their identity and other details without their consent. And even details of their other third parties. The lawsuit alleged that Truecaller's failure to register as a data controller and processor in the country is in a breach. But this will not go anywhere. Where are you going to find people to call them to come to Ghana? To get to Kenya? You have to ban through. This is what Bank of Ghana is going through right now with the crypto platforms. You get up in the morning and say that you are banned fiat. You can't use fiat. The people and that the only thing you can actually ban is that you can say that you are banned it in the way that Ghanaian cards cannot work. So if I am EcoBank and a person goes to that website, I should refuse a service to that person because you're using a website that's not approved by bank. But you cannot ban that person. You cannot ban that company that's sitting abroad. Then in the future, then we should be banning Gmail. We should ban Yahoo. We should ban everybody. And if you don't take it, you end up banning yourself because your workers are using Gmail. We sometimes I ask myself whether we understand what you are seeking to protect, but sometimes inherently your protection also creates other problems for yourself. You are banning, no. I don't have a problem with what we're gonna do the right thing. But what they have done is that they are telling the banks here that don't allow them to use their cards on those other platforms. Good. But the funny thing is that you have also enabled crypto platforms to work. So if he's not using the direct card, he is now going to buy crypto so that you can get your taxes through maybe the crypto platform have been licensed here and still send the crypto to that platform. Binance or wherever is sitting there, the money will still come to them because the people want to trade. So it will be better for you to bring Binance to Ghana that please you are good. We want to give you legal way of operating in Ghana so that we can have a Binance Ghana version and we will give you office. Then you can be able to do something with them and gain some of their money. But sometimes this anti-progressive policies in terms of global progressive, I'm not talking about local, it is progressive locally, but globally you think you are training somebody. It actually gives them more opportunity. All some people do is that now this is what's happening. He doesn't need, you say you should use the card. The person that has the card is sitting in the US. So all that he does is that he goes to his brother. Oh, your brother said he has been sending you 3,000 Ghana every day. I won't send you, he doesn't need to send the 3,000. I will give the 3,000 Ghana to you. Then your brother will credit my crypto account for me online. You have lost all the opportunity because the inflow that was coming from the US to the here, you were getting some small taxes from the foreign direct investment or the remittances that was coming. That remittance is stopped. The guy in Ghana is giving to his brother, younger brother, his family here in Ghana directly. And the guy is crediting his account. So that guy has stopped bringing money. That economy that you have cancelled, you have not seen that the indirect effect. This year in Bank of Ghana, I'm just trying to share some of the way we, the researchers, when we look at it, it's very interesting to us. As soon as you close one door, you also open another door. That's one thing. And sometimes I realize that it's because the research in the area is very infantile. So people don't know. They just bring the policy just out because they want to stop criminals. The criminals themselves, they were ahead of us before they even began this thing. It's a young criminal that use a card in Ghana. The big time criminals don't use the card in Ghana. They are doing the trade with the families here. So your sister, your father is in need of hospital bill. He goes to pay it. Then the guy will give him money in the US. Simple. Simple. That's it. And there's no crime. The US cannot arrest him. You cannot arrest him here. Yeah, but now he has got his crypto account. He can go to any crypto world and make it. When he also wants to get the money, he'll do this a reverse version of the thing. Anyway, let me continue. Let me not disturb rock the boat too much. I want us to have legal frameworks that work, but we also want to understand that human beings adapt as we make policies unfriendly for them. Okay. Dr. Say, how are you doing?
Prof, good evening. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm doing
Yeah,
well.
life. Okay.
I'm here.
So of access to obtain a copy of one's own data, you can. This is what has been. It's in the European Union one, and I think it's also in Ghana. So you have the right. Somebody asked me in another class. You have the right to ask for your hospital information, but the processing of that data in terms of your hospital records, the processing of it in terms of printing it and stuff, you can pay. They can charge you for the printing, but you have the right to have access to that report that was written about you by the doctor, so they can take the diagnosis to somewhere else. Yeah. The erasure. You are right, David Ama. So True Caller is saying that they voluntarily. That is the thing. No? They are now using privacy things that individuals are now what they are trying to say that the onus of the protection is on the individual. Go after the individual. Remember, I mentioned this without even mentioning this that if Truecaller will actually do a social network analysis and let us know who and who contributed that information there, we'll have a very interesting game in Ghana. Because if they start giving that information out, even some of the lawmakers will be in trouble. Because some ladies that you may be hanging out with, they submitted your phone number to their platform. Some things that will come out, they will draw the network analysis of you, this person, three of them. One of them is Atayi, one of them is this, one of them is that. Then you start having problem. How are you calling Atayi? Are you calling him in the prison to advise him or to what? Or something? I'm just using that example. You have some known criminals are part of your network, uploaded your data. You will start finding some interesting that they'll go back that Truecaller don't publish this anymore. So let's just be very careful. I remember one time in the UK, they wake up in the morning and they publish IP addresses that have been using office network to access pornographic websites, and they mentioned the program, and included university lectures using the office computer. Okay. And do you know what they just subpoenaed the websites to give them those who have been visiting legally, and using corporate public platforms, corporate and public platforms for that. In fact, it was more about the public platform. So yes, and it's like the office, the let's say a department in the a department or university that is owned by government or something like. So all the things came out, and that was happening. The question that they needed to add to the data, give us the time that they were browsing the page, so that we know whether it's after work activities or during work activities. That's what will happen. Anyway, so please, those of you who are here who are enjoying certain pages, and in the right law, MTN can be subpoenaed, and you don't want to be part of the list when it goes out. So please, either you VPN yourself 7 times or you just leave these pages alone. Anyway, then to erase, you can ask for your data to be erased from a place. You have the right to be forgotten. That's what they call it. Then data portability, right to move the data between services. So I've now moved from this hospital. I'm going to this hospital. I want you to send my data there because then they may ask you that it may be. You see, all these are services that are the controller who is collecting the data should be able to make it available. So it has gone that far so much that currently, if I'm an academic and I supply a paper, submit a paper to a journal. When I submit the paper to the journal and the journal say they are not interested, so that it doesn't fit, it's not a good fit, they can recommend other journals to me. And after recommend, if I choose one, I can give them consent to submit the paper on my behalf straight to that journal without me interfering. This is how the policy is working. It happens to a number of the journal platforms now. They have taken it even to academic work. Okay. Then around automated decisions. Now, this one is very, very important. Not to be subject to any purely automated decision that significantly affects you. Those of you who have been activating Siri to do everything for you, activating Claude to do everything for you. I can imagine that the way Claude is growing, Claude is one of the AI platforms like ChatGPT, and it's one of the most sophisticated now. And it now has agents that can work on your machine. So you can download it and put on your machine. It can read all your emails, be responding to your emails based on the settings you set for it. It can actually schedule activities for you, respond to people that you're working with. If you feed it with your profile and your CV, it can then give even more contextual information about you to other people. And then it will study all your emails going to the back. So you can even know who was your girlfriend in 2023, 2025 and stuff. And just in case that girl sends an email, it can intelligently mute that email so that your current person will not see. It can do all those things. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This is what Claude can do, but it's all about the settings. It will not reach 2026 December. You may start seeing the first court case that they are suing Claude. Somebody will suing Claude. If it's not even happening already. Not they are suing the company, they are suing the Claude itself, who you give permission to do they'll be suing the thing. Because right now it can act as a human being in terms of what it does on your machine and stuff. So please, I beg you, as much as we want it to do, if they are doing investigation that did you do the assignment yourself or Claude did it? What I mean by the assignment yourself or Claude did is like you uploaded proverbatim question and just went to sleep. Claude answered it, and then when you can just copy the answer and then submit. That is purely 100% AI. That one can be highly penalized. You can even get filled for that. Then there's another one that you can let Claude walk you through. That this is what you have to. Let's brainstorm together. So Claude will give you the first thing, you ask you questions, then you ask it questions. That what about if you look at this way? Claude will say, okay, this, and then you can tell Claude that, please critique your own self whilst you are engaging. That one, if Claude shows up in the court, he will say that it is not his work. It is a work between you and him. And maybe you did even 80% of the prompting and the thinking for and for it to go that way. He was just helping to look at as a research assistant, look at an alternative. That's what we are. That is where we should be going to. But the where we are gotten to are people who just hand it over and go and sleep. And some of the assignments that I gave you, I gave to the other. You wrote your exam in class, so it's different. I give to the other people. I have seen those kind of, and sometimes they copy the thing with their command. You know, when they finish, like, here is your answer. They copy here is your answer and everything and give it to me. How can you do that? You copy here is your answer. So and you write here is your answer, and then notice that ChatGPT is not always right. This thing. Do not trust what they copy everything and give it to me. Are you doing? What are you doing? Just this this masters you are doing. You don't want to touch anything. Everything should be the GTP should do it for you. Can you be that careless that you copy it and copy the code, the response underneath to for me? Anyway, those who are quiet, they know themselves. Okay, good. But you are not here. This class may not be part of it unless the ABCD to you are doing. You are letting Claude aside for you. Okay, let's continue. Then, so automated decisions, we have to be very careful about that. Okay. So the 5 working rules coming from the what we have learned from this first expose with this company with the GDPR is one, establish a lawful basis first. Before a project begins, there must be a valid legal basis, often clear and unambiguous consent. Let people be clear about it that you took their consent. Let them know that you even took their consent. Sometimes what I like about some companies that they will ask for your consent and they will remind you that we collected your consent on this day. Build the privacy in from the start. We call it privacy by design. In the design system, we are protecting you, so we don't collect what is not needed. Data protection belongs to at the design stage, not later, which happens in many of the institutions. Lean on anonymization and pseudonymization means that using other names and then or removing the name so we can identify the true person. Fully anonymized data falls outside the GDPR altogether. Pseudonymized data is also still personal data, but it counts as a safeguard. Now, fully anonymized that you cannot track anybody in it. You can't even know the person was in the UK or this. It falls outside because then it doesn't apply. But where we can be able to identify this one is coming from somebody in the UK, then it becomes a problem. Now, the issue here is if you say you are doing the first one, fully anonymized, how did it become anonymized? Is it the time the thing was being created or the time you downloaded it and then worked on your machine? As soon as you download it in this true form and then you anonymize it locally, it will still count on you because you are taking the data then you are going to now anonymize. But if in capturing the data you anonymize it on the source of caption, then it's very difficult for us to even know that this data is about European Union citizens. So you can be able to get away with not being necessarily about them under them because from the onset, we don't actually capture anything about you that makes anybody know that we took it from somebody from European Union. But when I say that, I'm even talking about even up to IP addresses. Because even if you just change the name and the IP address, we can locate that it's coming from somebody in the European Union, then you have still not done the anonymity perfectly. Be careful with profiling, where analysis profiles people in ways that can affect them. Transparency and the right to object becomes central. So that means that depending on how you're going to analyze the data and you use to generate certain types of information about people, you have to give them the consent about to be able to say that they don't want their data to be processed in that manner. So transparency and the right to object is important. The most treat governance as non-negotiable. Every institution, every platform needs some type of governance framing. So it's not non-negotiable. Even if it's just a small firm, it's not negotiable. And as I mentioned, sometimes what may be required is that you have to develop a simple policy to guide you, but you may need to bring in the experts and somebody who is knowledgeable to be able to help you to do so. Okay, there's no question. Yes, let me go. Now, the GDPR has two types of fines. First one is the up to 10 million euros or 2% of the global turnover, whichever is higher. Administrative failures, no privacy by design or default, poor records processing. All of these things fall under failure to even appoint a data protection officer in your company. First under tier 1. Tier 2, up to 20 million or 4% of your global turnover. Core violations, processing without lawful basis, breaching purpose limitation or minimization, the purpose for which you collected it, and then the type of how much of information you're collecting, minimization, ignoring data subject rights or unlawful transfers abroad. Okay. And I think most of the US firms have been caught with the unlawful transfers abroad. So they think that because they have very good relation with the UK, the data they are collecting on their citizens, they can easily send it to the UK. And if they're not very careful, they get sued by the DPC or by GDPR, and then and European Union has made quite some good money from suing people from technical breaches of technical technology policies. They have made quite good money out of it. And sometimes it's even very scary because you wonder that you bring any kind of innovation. When people bring the innovation, then you develop policy to make money out of the innovation. But that is it. That is it. Okay. Okay, this is my case study. So I don't want to go into that. Let's go further. Okay. So look at this example. A retailer never appointed a data protection officer despite being required to. That's an administrative failure. So what is going goes to tier 1. Okay, good. A fintech runs a marketing analytics on customer data with no lawful basis. Processing without lawful basis, tier 2. A platform ignores thousands of eraser requests from over a year, ignoring some data subject rights. We talked about right to erase as one of the rights of the people. So then look at a startup launch a product with no DPIA. Okay, and then no privacy by design documentation, missing DPIA, and then design duties. So it goes to tier 1. Okay, violations of people's actual rights are in tier 2. Violation of paperwork, and then paperwork and anything related to that is in tier. What's the name? Oh, good. Oh, please hold on. I'm coming. How possible? Okay. Sorry, the university just sent me some information that I requested. It's very good. The data protection, it's like you can request for information and later, because you have got the legal right to have it, they can send you a mail and then give you access to it. Very, very good. So this is one thing that we want to see more, want to see in Ghana. Okay, let me take any question now. If not, let me go ahead. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, so as we mentioned, if the DPI is about your data protection impact assessment, it's in the policies in as such. So they're asking that if you haven't done a DPIA and you go on just doing business as usual, you can also be sued. And that's your one. Yes, please, your question, you can go ahead.
No problem. Please, what is the difference between tier 1 and the tier 2? Like, how do you make that classification?
Okay, so maybe I don't think you saw it well. So let's go back. Sorry. This is it. Tier 1 is here, tier 2 is here. Do you see it now? So the rules of tier 1 is administrative. The rules of tier 2 is more core violations. Please, do you see it now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
You missed this part. You missed this part. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. US has no data protection act. Is that true? Yes, because in US, the federal ones are more about sectors. And then the state-based ones are more about the state. So you find issues about data protection at the state level, instead at the federal level. So the EU has one comprehensive regulation, US has patchwork, a federal law for particular sectors, and a fast-growing set of state laws. So if you want the privacy law, one of the states that has a strong privacy law is California. And you guys can imagine why. A lot of celebrity activity in that environment, a lot of people information exchange, entertainment data is there. So they will start with it. That it's not surprised that they have one of the largest. Okay, good. Now, compliance is therefore a matter of mastering one rule book. It's more about which industry. So there's policy for the health, for the finance, for children's services. All of them have all got a federal statute. Okay. What kind of data? The data may be different. Personal health information, and then that one you may see that one in the health sector. Financial records in the finance sector. Children data, we may see it related to children's services or related to services for the children. Okay. And all of them trigger different rules. Then where do the subjects live? The state laws attached by residency. So if you come to California, they have got their own state laws. Go to Virginia, Colorado, and other ones. They all have got their state laws. Now, one of the three of them that I may briefly mention is one. Graham Leach. Yes. Still
about the previous slide. Could you please go back to the previous slide? Yes, please. I'm wondering, don't they overlap at certain times, the industries? Because as soon as I saw the health, finance, and children's services, what came in my mind is, what if it is about a child in a hospital making payments? That is all finance in a way, but I want to know whether we mean the actual sectors, or they overlap at any point in time.
They could overlap. That is why, have you heard about somebody freed and rearrested? So, or one of them, they thought you have breached something, then they release you. Then the FBI will come in, or IRS will come in and arrest you. It has been happening in Ghana nowadays, but it's actually something very visible in the US. So, or some of the federal institutions, they wait. You go through the issue with the state, depending on as soon as the state finish with you, then they come for you and they rearrest you again. So it happens that way. The jurisdiction will tell who can arrest and who cannot arrest. Remember the question I asked? The question I asked earlier, who can come for you and for what? So it depends on what they are coming for. What you gave us was a very arbitrary information. It's like you just give us an example without many specifics. So I cannot choose to work with this or to work with that. But at every point in time, something may apply, and that one which applies that you are breaches what will come for you. But whilst they come for you, it could be that you are still breaching another one. So you'll be right there that they can slap another one on you. That's how it works.
Yes, Prof.
Okay.
Yes, Prof. Thank you.
So let's take an example. HIPAA, like this, is at the federal level. It governs protected health information, PHI, where hospitals, insurers, and other healthcare entities are the target group. Any analysis touched on PHI falls under the strict privacy and security rules. So if you are doing anything with healthcare data, HIPAA will come for you. To the extent that one of the people that we do research with, a company in Ghana, Kumasi, they got a contract to develop a platform for a company in a hospital or a set of hospitals in Angola. When they got to Angola, the US government had some kind of relationship with the Ministry of Health to some extent that if you are dealing with their data, HIPAA applies to you. So my friend was telling me that the very first time he heard about HIPAA was when he go to Angola and he was trying to do. So he had to go and get accredited and send his details and information to be accredited by HIPAA before he could work on the Angolan data, work on anything about healthcare data in Angola. So like, I've been in Ghana in this Ghana business, Ghana industry for a long time. I said yes. For the years I was here, nothing about HIPAA did anything to me. HIPAA never came from it. But as soon as I went there, the level of influence they have there and the impact of their software, the impact of HIPAA is something streamlining something they are doing, will play a key role. I said, wow. So you can also realize that sometimes at the federal level, a law can be there and it can even apply and go further to even affect other people who are in different countries. Then there's got a GLBA, that's the Graham-Leach Act, which covers financial institutions and non-public public personal information they hold, and the non-public personal information they hold, such as account details and transactions. So all of them are under one. Yeah, under one of this. Yeah, good. I think when we're looking at policies in the beginning, we're looking at some of the electronic policies in the office of the president of one of the universities. This law was in one of the universities there. It was stated as one of them. This GLBA. Then COPA has to do with children. It imposes strict regulation, strict collection, and parental consent rules on online services directed at parent and directed at children under 13. Online services directed at children under 13. Okay, so first ask about the sector, and then before you do your analysis, and ask about whether the data set drags you under any of these three: Provident, finance, and health. The California one, the CCPA or the CPRA, is more concerned about a comprehensive privacy law for the state of California, and it kind of creates a benchmark. Okay, California is the most far-reaching. California's is the most far-reaching policy. That's what it's trying to say. It applies to for-profit businesses handling Californian residents' data over certain thresholds with demands that echo the GDPR, transparency at collection, purpose limitation, and minimization. The first one is the right to know what has been collected about you. As we saw earlier, right to delete, have the business to erase it. Okay. Then right to opt out of the sale or sharing of personal information, but sharing the defined broadly enough to cover plus context behavioral advertising. Interest. Right to limit the use of sensitive data information such as precise location, health, and then data. Okay. Californians put out after the collection. Europeans put California opt out after the collection. Europeans opt in before it begins. The single verb is the philosophical divide. So right to opt out, you're already inside, now you're opting out. That you don't want your information to be shared. But in California, it's right to opt in, so they may not want to be part of it. So that information will be collected about them. Okay. Now let's continue. Virginia and Colorado, and their stricter cousins opt in for sensitive data rather than California's limit to right to limit. The Virginia one and then the Colorado one, Data Protection Act require explicit opt-in consent for sensitive data. Once sensitive data is processed, an analyst cannot hide such data in a model without approval. So that means that if you're going to work on any data, and even if the model is going to be used in Ghana, they expect you to do we expect you to actually adhere to what the US is saying here. Okay. Mandated documents, the mandated assessments are required for high risk activities. targeted advertising, the sale of data, or certain profiling. Formal risk assessment becomes part of the analytics life cycle. Okay. So they kind of do quite a number of frequent or periodic assessment to be able to know where they stand. Now, spreading from in laws in Utah, Connecticut, and elsewhere resemble the CCPA, but differ in important ways. Each read each statute, not just the family of resemblance. Now, resemblance. So, but what we are trying to emphasize here is that one, the policy itself is out there, and that people have to be able to read it to be able to know how it affects them. Number two, we're also realizing that there are certain key things that are in the first one that we saw. That is the California one. That is a little bit different in the other towns, but each of them have want to rule their community, want to rule their community. So you need to know each of them, not just know only just one of them. You need to know each of them and how to play a key role for you. Now, what are the penalties per violation? When you violate the CCPA, you pay 2,500 per unintentional violation, 7,500 for intentional one. After a breach, consumers will also sue you between 100 to 500 or 750 per consumer per an incident. Okay. So the first one has been, then the next one is Virginia, up to 7,500. Then Colorado, adds to 20,000 per violation. And then the HIPAA, it's set by negligence. So at the lower end, you're going 5,000, 100 to 50,000. Then can go up to 1.5 million per year, determined by the criminal penalties. It's determined by, it's a function of the criminal penalties, including prison and intentional harm. So in case you harm somebody through whatever data you provided or use the data to harm someone, you could actually also be fined under this one, from 100 to 50,000 and up to 1.5 million. I think the American ones are a little bit fair in where they start from. The European ones are very, very large and broad. Okay. Yes, George, I'm coming. So let's compare the two. One, the GDPR is rights-based. The US one, we have got sector-based or market-based, and we also have the privacy at the federal level for the consumer protection, which happens at the level of the state, not the sector. Number two, we have got scope, extraterritorial, binding the organization worldwide processing EU's residence data. But the US is jurisdiction specific. Federal laws by sector, state laws by residency and thresholds. Consent, largely opt-in. Many activities need explicit consent before processing in GDPR. But when it comes to the US, they collect the information, they tell you can rather opt out. US, they are interested. Collection often allowed unless the consumer opts out. Okay. Definition of data, very broad. Anything that can identify a person using cookies and IP addresses. Varies by law. HIPAA focuses on PHI, then CCPA on the broad notion of personal information. Enforcement and fines. GDPR is centralized and CBI up to 20 million or 4 million, 4% global turnover. But the other one, which is US approach, decentralized and variable, usually per violation, accumulating rapidly. So that means that they will have to look at what it is existing, check what could the possibilities be, and then make a choice on based on their current internal resources. Okay. Privacy by design, a documented lawful basis for minimization, purpose, and purpose limitation. Now, for the US approach, attention to the data subject location and type. For clear out mechanisms. We don't want to collect the data first and say that now we don't want the person. That's not what we want. So we need to make sure that at the end of the day, when we are collecting the information, we collect them within the laws of GDPR, that we collect what is needed, not everything for us to figure it out. Okay. Please, I saw a hand up. Let me answer that one.
Yeah, Prof. So I have a question about the HIPAA, right? So you said it governs, what the slide showed, it says it governs the hospital insurance and some healthcare entities, right? So I don't know if this is a loophole.
HIPAA,
I know there are some tech brands that collect data from like the heart rate or biometrics, right, from some of the fitness wearables we've been wearing, right? So are they legally exempt from HIPAA because they aren't technically, traditional healthcare providers or hospital?
Okay, so remember that we mentioned that HIPAA is for only healthcare. The other ones are different. Now, we also want to know that HIPAA is for protected health information. The information that your phone is, your fitness app, your treadmill is picking, is it protected health information? If it's not, doesn't classify or fall under that. We have in Ghana the Electronic Transactions Act, and I think another one of the other acts has something they call critical database, and even I think the cybersecurity act also critical health security. The cybersecurity calls it critical information, and then the Electronic Transactions Act calls it critical databases. Now, the critical databases are the certain databases that government has classified as being the data that has certain personal information of citizens, and that it has to be declassified or it's not made available or accessible to anybody. But before it can be, any database can be called a critical database, it has to be gazetted, and the information about the data set and how we collect the data and everything has to be approved through the ministry, and then the ministry takes it to whoever is above the ministry of digitalization, whoever is above the ministry for approval. Then it's passed within as part of the Electronic Transaction Act. Now, me and you sitting here, I'm not seeing any document that tells you that these are the critical databases in Ghana. I've not seen them. Maybe there may be something internal. I know there are quite a lot of databases, but there is something internal. The cybersecurity act also has something concerning critical information, something similar like that. Now, what I'm trying to emphasize here is that it's all about who is saying something and where it applies to. If the policy is concerned, the the American one, the HIPAA, focuses primarily on protected health information, and whatever is defined as protected health information, it doesn't capture what your app is doing, then it's not part of it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So you being part of what is legal is very, it should be clear. Otherwise, anybody can just sit here and just be making certain claims. Please, you understand
Thank you,
me?
Prof. Yeah.
Good. It will have to be clearly defined. Okay, there's no other question here. Opt in or opt out, which actually serves the people better. Team opt in, consent before collection, respects the person, default, decide outcomes to make make protection the default. Okay. So you are protecting being the default. That means that we will not even collect information about somebody and realize that's not the information we want. Okay. Team opt out. Friction kills useful services. Informed adults can manage their own choices. Innovation needs room. So allowing people to make their own choices about what they want to do, and they documenting it is part of it. Both teams must answer, why does the choice matter so much for a business built on behavioral advertising. Which regime would you want your data to live under? Opt in or opt out? Okay. So that's the opt in, opt out. In the clear statement they put underneath is that which regime would you want your data to live under? Is it the opt in group or the opt out group? Yes. David Ama, which of them would you want?
Prof, just a minute, I'm reading it.
Let me ask you someone. Evangelina, let's take it the second time. Which of them would you want? Do you want to be in the opt-in group or the opt-out group?
The opt-in.
The opt-in. Why do
Yes,
you want?
because it says consent before collection of the report. So I'd
Very
want
much.
someone to seek my consent before collecting any data.
Good. Very good answer. Very good answer. Very good answer. Thank you very much. I'll blot
So
your name.
please, should I cancel? Should I cancel the name?
Hey, you have got fans. So. Anyway, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, good. David, you have not answered us. So you
Like Evangelina said, she rightly said,
hey,
I'd opt in
no,
for
no, no,
what
but
Evangelina
you like
said.
having people's issues, your issues so much. We ask you question, you are not going to bring it. You were even asked first.
Oh, but Prof, I'm answering you by saying that it's just
No,
what
no,
Evangelina
don't
said.
mention his name anywhere.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Evangelina, well done, by the way. So, Prof, my question, I would say I would opt in because I would want to be safer because in that opt-in case, I've asked them for their consent or respected their rule to
Okay,
for
let
them
me
to
ask you.
answer my question.
Let me ask you again. When you are applying to UG, which of them do you go to? Opt in or opt out?
When I am applying to UG,
When you applied to UG before you became a student,
I opted in.
where did they ask you to opt in?
During the was that? Yeah, during the main application of my interest.
Are you sure? Hey, okay, you didn't ask somebody else. Please, when you're applying to UG, which of them do you experience? Opt in or opt out? Okay. Yes. McAfee.
So I think it's opt out because there's nowhere where they ask for your consent. They just ask you to fill the form and you provide your personal details. So I think it's opt out.
Okay. Very interesting. Like you have explained yourself well. So which of them will serve the people better? Is it opt out or opt in? Okay. Yes, Stella.
Prof, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm in between the two, both for opt-in and opt-out. It's not everything that, because if I'm dying at the hospital and they need to get blood or they need to do some surgery emergency, they may not have that time to now seek my consent. So at that time, I think I would agree with innovation to take over. But then with some that I do have control over, that I would want the consent. So I'm in between. I'm sitting on the fence.
Okay. Well, what was? Yes. What else?
Sir, I have the same opinion as Stella. However, a situation where we fill the forms with our personal details, and then you see it on a different platform without your consent. With regards to Legon, what can someone do? Can we take Legon on?
Can you take Legon on?
Yes.
For which of them?
Somebody sends me a message saying I'm a student of UGBS and he wants to support me with my project work. And he got it from Legon.
How did he get it from Legon?
That is what I haven't investigated on.
But you can
But in a
get it
situation
from
like that, can the person can
your friends are also on Legon campus, so you can get it through your friends. You can also get it. Yeah, you can also get it from maybe a printout of your transcript. That means you may have printed it out and it fell down.
Wow. Okay. Thank you,
Not a
sir.
very far option. They printed it out and it fell down.
Yes, but you are saying that you got it from Legon. So I'm showing you how it can happen from Legon. Legon can also come from human error, whether it's Legon or not. Legon is not immune. The problem is you trying to point out that it came from the carelessness of a particular Legon officer. That is maybe difficult for him to prove. Let me give an example. A lecturer went to print examination for examination questions. So when you print your examination questions, he's going to take it to the business school strong room. So he finished printing it. He goes to business school. The strong room is on the second floor, but his office is another block, and his block is on, I think, the third floor or fourth floor. So he said, "Oh, let me just rush and go to my room and come back down and come and pick the examination scripts and then take it to the second floor where and register that I finished marking. And these are the results, and that they can contact the students and give me my marking for my allocations for next year, next semester. What would I be teaching?" So the person has done his part too. He went up. By the time he came down, his boot had been opened and the exam questions are gone. This was just less than 5 minutes. His boot was open and the exam questions were gone.
His house people
So
were
what did
following.
Thank you. Wherever he went to do the photocopy, somebody saw it. And nobody didn't pick anything apart from the envelope with the questions. In this scenario, who should we sue? The lecturer was negligent, or the business school security or university security was still standing there and somebody picked up something from somebody's car just like that. Anyway, let me take it from Stephen Furry. Oh, Hannah was there first. So Hannah, sorry. Now,
Yes, Prof. Good evening.
How are you now?
I'm fine, thank you. Okay, so I'm seeing that currently most of our institutions and organizations, they practice both this opt-in and opt-out because considering, let's say, MTN, you opt in to get the chip, do all the things, but then you'll be there, and then sometimes you see that they've registered you to one insurance, whatever, so many different things, and then you have to go and then opt out. Then for our financial institutions to, yes, you go to one of them, register for an account opening, fill in your details, everything, but they use your your application for some marketing communication. Maybe if you put in an email, you will then receive a bill on the new product, something they are bringing on board, unless you unsubscribe to some of these things. So it's neither here nor there. You can go based on the intention to just opt in for a product or a service of an institution. But then at the end of the day, you'll be in both areas because they decide to use your data based on maybe something you take during your registration or something you are doing. So I agree with how Wallace and Stella were feeling because currently they are both happening to us almost everywhere.
All government workers say a week to payday, loan messages. A week after payday, loan messages.
Hey, oh, it's very technical. I couldn't even respond to Hannah's order. Yeah, mentioned a similar thing. Anybody? Yes, please. People want to comment on what Hannah said. For now.
Yeah, hello, Prof. Good evening. So I'm thinking that the opt-in and opt-out serves people better because when they seek your consent on certain, let's say, sensitive, taking sensitive information, it actually protects you because you can opt out not to give those informations out. But when they have your data and then they might even advertise certain products to you, which ordinarily you might not even go in for or even have the knowledge of looking for those products, which might be of great importance to you. The opt out will help you. There and there, you might decide whether to go for that particular product or not. So when you have the opt-in and opt-out, your information or certain you are assured of data security, and then you would also be able to manage your preferences based on what you are thrown with concerning, let's say, the products that you might be given to or exposed to. Then you can make meaningful decisions so that it doesn't kill useful services that may be of great benefit to you. I think that the opt-in and opt-out like together would serve people better.
Please, I don't know who spoke. I think it's Stephen.
No, Penel.
So considering MTN, maybe you bought your data or credit, then you know this thing like you have data, you know you have credit before you realize it's half the value you bought or the data is gone. Then maybe you call their contact center. Then they will now tell you that you subscribe to like 3 or 4 things. Some of them you've not even heard before. You don't know how you subscribe to them. So this one, it's not like they are even giving you nuisance because the things they claim you subscribe to, first of all, you don't even know they existed. You don't know how they came about. As in, it's just subscribed for you, and your data is running out or your credit is going out. Same with this financial institutions, as I said. Yes, you've registered for an account, whichever organization. They are using your information. They are flooding your email. Sometimes they'll be calling you. Like, so you are also having your own personal space to do your things. You'll be there, you see the plenty emails. It's different from the announcements that maybe something is about to happen. They are not available for specific days or times, so they are informing you. Those are different. But then they do that, then they now give you the option to unsubscribe. Who is asking them to even send you a mail in the first place if they it's like they are doing it and they are protecting themselves behind. So
No,
So,
it's not
with,
how to
with it-
protect themselves. It's by default that everybody who is in the database is being
to
informed.
receive that.
Yes. So you
Exactly.
treat it as a data set. So a data, I will not say data, a data entry. So you are one of the elements that have been entered. Nobody knows you. You are the one who thinks you are known and you are the remember. But most of the things you may think it may just be coincidental. That's why you're asking them who you have not even asked them for this and they are not even checking their data. They don't check. They have just got a generic thing that's working.
So,
And it's
sir,
not
is
good.
that right? Especially with
Oh,
the ones that is costing you, like the telecoms.
I know what is right. I told you that what is right and what is not right is not the issue. What is enforceable is the issue.
So,
At
so
what cost?
advisably, we might have agreed to something like this from MTN or any of the telcos for them to be doing that.
Yes, during your onboarding, when they are taking your consent for let's say certain things, you might have signed those things, because sometimes when they give us agree to terms and conditions, we just check the boxes and then go. We don't go ahead to read most of the things that are stated in there. So unknowingly, you might have subscribed to it. That is how come
Hi.
you would have the flexibility of um,
I'm saying this
unsubscribing.
because I have a personal experience. I've had this thing with MTN, like, I don't know. I'll call, they will say that, and I say, please, I didn't subscribe to anything. Then the lady will say, or the gentleman will say, okay, I'm unsubscribing you so that you don't have that issue. I'm telling you, give me like 3 months. We will have this conversation with another one. Anyways, okay.
Okay, Michael. Amina's hand was up before you, so Amina, go ahead. But please, Hannah, thank you very much for the different perspectives and the richness of the story. If I want to answer all of them, I will not be able to. But let me just take Amina first. Yes.
Okay, Prof, I'm talking about what Na spoke about. So I think I've also had that challenge with MTN, and I realized that. So I spoke to someone. I realized that when it comes to you opting in into their services, it normally comes like a flash or a message, and probably you're on your phone, you're on a call, you're doing something, and you don't realize it, and maybe you touch yes or you touch one or you input something, then automatically it subscribes to you. So what I know is that when it comes to those services, it's an opt-in. The only thing is that they don't send a message in a way that you are conscious that you are subscribing to something. It's usually maybe during a call or maybe you are busy. Like let's say you are browsing the internet and your data is finished and you need to continue what you are doing. Then they flash the message. Maybe in the heat of that moment, you are not really reading what the whole message was saying, but they are telling you that you're out of credit and they are borrowing you airtime and you just opt in. So that's my understanding when it comes to the telcos, when it comes to the opt-in options.
What you're saying is true. There's a service in Ghana from M-Notify. I also unsubscribed almost 10 years ago. I even told one of the people who works there that you should tell their boss to remove me from the internet. Up to today, I still get them, get prompts and I get very angry about it. So what you are saying is very, very true. You have opted in and sometimes getting out is more difficult. So they are using the second one, but it's wrong. But Hannah, and then Amina, the only way we can go after them is a class action suit. You have to get somebody, a lawyer who has time. But with class action, this you have about 300,000 people who have signed and they are showing up. Go to court. If MTN sees that, they will react right now, because if the people win, the court will multiply it by maybe give everybody 3,000 and times 300,000. You lose a lot of money. Yes, Michael Furey.
Prof, thank you. Good evening. So, in the case of the telcos, especially for MTN, so as the panel was saying, no, during the onboarding stages, right here, sometimes we all tick the box where we agree to the terms and conditions. I understand where Na is also coming from. Because once you tick that, you are agreeing to the terms and then the conditions, for the opt-in, yes, you opt into some things like marketing campaigns or promotional emails, personalized offers and all. And then sometimes you also opt into sharing data with, let's say, third parties. But with the opt-out aspect, when these messages come, especially for Na's case where she's saying that she called maybe the call center told her that she had subscribed to some things which she knows she didn't do. Sometimes the messages come in a flash, as one of our colleagues stated. And then in the heat of the moment, I mean, you don't see those messages. Mistakenly, you select one and then, I mean, you opt in or subscribe to that service that you are being debited. Yeah, but I mean, these things, they do happen. So for MTN like this, if now I think now you at the back end, you can share your number, all right? Because sometimes these things happen, and then if you are saying you've not, I mean, you didn't subscribe to them, and then they are still getting these numbers, we can check for you. So I work with MTN. I mean, from where I sit,
Share my
from where
number.
I so from where I sit, sometimes we realize that most of the people actually opt into these kind of services, right? But we can still investigate and then now we sort you out, right? Thank you.
I'll be the first client. Thank you.
Thank
Prof,
you very
forgive
much.
us.
I'm happy. I'm happy about his view and what he's actually shared. But the question is that is happening coming now. Now he's doing it informally, without a formal request for the institution. He's just being proactive as an employee that he has chance on a problem. He wants to try and address it for his favorite customers. But the legal thing would have been that we have to write and then maybe PR, public relations, or the officer who is in charge of that will then respond to us. And then we go through the process of getting the thing rectified. Interesting. I can't share my number. Oh. Or can I share my number? Okay. Pero, your question.
No, so to my colleague who just spoke. So I'm just saying that if he checks at the back end and sees that they didn't subscribe and they've been put on those subscriptions, are they going to refund them?
Okay, so yeah, Penel. So when these issues happen, we also have teams that investigate. I mean, once it's investigated and it goes through the legal processes, we redo refunds. I mean, when we realize that the problem is not from you or maybe it's from our
Please,
end.
please, please, you don't. You don't.
Oh.
You don't. I'm a regular victim of this thing. You don't.
Okay. Now please allow him to finish. Please continue.
All right. So yeah, Penel, so that's it. I mean, when it's checked, so Prof, sometimes we do check when these cases happen. Yeah, we do check on them and then we do our investigations from our end, especially data issues, mobile money issues. So when they are checked, we have specific teams, we go through the systems, we check, and then we are able to verify if the problem is from our end or not. Once it's from the company's end, the refunds are being done. If it's not from our end, that one we have documentations and then we have proof to let you know that it was from your end. Yeah, but anytime the problem is from our end, the refund is done. Right here. So that's why now I mentioned you can still share your number. I mean, if you'd want to, it's not essential. So, I mean, I can give it to colleagues who are there and then we'll check for you.
Okay, thank you very much. So both policies advise that we should go with privacy by design. That means the protection is embedded in the architecture from the initial stage. And but then you also have privacy by default. The strictest settings apply automatically, but before the user lifts a finger. When you do privacy by design, what you have done is that in the default state, as the thing is being developed, as you are developing your policy, you're collecting data, You are putting measures to make to protect that data from being shared or from being stolen or being risked as much as possible. And you can also hold somebody accountable for it. So we don't want there's something to happen before we try to address the issue. We want from the beginning, we have put in measures to protect the collection of data, the processing of data, and the transfer of data. Good. So one, proactive and not reactive, prevent problems before they occur. Two, embedded in the design. Talking about privacy by design. Three, visible and transparent. Stakeholders can verify compliance that you have got certain things you have stated and then you are following them. We just saw somebody denying that MTN doesn't do something that you just said. So it means that in terms of visibility and transparency, you have an issue. You may claim that we do it, and you have consumers who will start saying it's a lie, it's not true, they don't do it. I don't know how you're going. And these are consumers who are a little quite learned. So for them to start responding that you don't do it, then maybe we have to look at it. Does MTN do it at all? They don't do it at all. Anyway, privacy as the default is captured within from the baseline. So it's part of the default settings of the whatever system that we are setting up. Full life cycle protection from collection to deletion. And it's focused on the user. So the users find it very easy to be able to use. In practice, a team designing and health app ensures from day one that personal data is encrypted. The access is solely role-based, and users can manage their own sharing preferences. Okay. So without any user action, the system already provides the highest level of privacy. Only the personal data necessary for a given purpose is collected and processed, and the strictest settings apply. So what we are doing is that we are minimizing what is collected. We are limiting it to what has been stated. And then we are also making sure that we restrict access and sharing by default. Okay. So in the two, privacy by design means that during the system development, we will make sure it's there. But privacy by default is what many companies do. The thing happens and then we are reacting to it. After we have deployed and they are using our service and we start thinking about privacy issues. But from the beginning, privacy by design is inside and implicit in the design of the system. Good. Focus, building privacy into the architecture of whatever system or service that they are providing. However, default, ensuring settings are automatically strict. Then user action, not relevant, is design-based. Privacy by default, none required to be protected. Okay. Both are legal requirements under the Article 25, and both end their place for the same three reasons. They build their trust, they ensure they reduce the risk of breach, and they keep you clear of fines and set out earlier. In both approaches, both of them play a key role. I think that you should have privacy by design, and you should also have privacy by default. The reason is that by design, you may actually say that you want certain things to be met before people will share the information or even request for information. But human beings, when they are using services, they adapt their behavior to go around the service to make it easier for them to use, or to try and do something that even the service was not actually meant for it, but they are now using it for that particular purpose. So you need to be able to know that how are human beings adapting themselves to be able to, if you access the service or work with the service, what can we do to prevent that from any breach from happening? Let me give you a very simple example that you may recall. Some time ago, universities came up with the bed kind of arrangement where students were brought in and then we did they assigned students to rooms and they gave them their beds. And every student was supposed to have one bed. So if you three people in a room, there'll be three beds, or four people to 4 beds. But then later they realized that the university realized that people were bringing illegal beds into the room. They were also making sure that some people were even selling their beds. He's there, but he doesn't sleep on his bed. He will sell his bed or he'll sell half of his bed. So there are all kinds of behavior that were happening, and they were happening with junior students. For example, somebody comes to level 100, he didn't get a bed, and then he rather is trying to pay somebody to be able to stay on campus so he can go for his lectures. So what the university then did is that from default, all level 100s were going to be taken and given beds. Sorry, from design, as soon as you apply, you're giving a bed. So by design, as you apply, you are giving a bed. So that all the level 100s were going to be resident, and level 400s are also going to be resident. 2 and 3 go out. So they got the in, out, in policy. So when you come in, you see, first year you are in. When you get to second year, that you have now found your fit, they sack you. You don't come back in until your fourth year when you're coming to finish. So at every point in time, we only had those who were new students and those who were leaving students. That's where we're going to go. Now, what that happened is, when that happened, usually level 100s, when they come in fresh, they are little bit scared to start trading their beds and stuff. So we saw less of those type of commercialization of rooms. And we saw people who were just using the beds and they were quite a number of them were having access to their rooms as much as possible. But then we also then realized that the private university, the private hostels who were around were now making it available quite cheaper for those who are continuing students to be able to go for those rooms. And we're giving better services. So they're even giving rooms that one person in the room. You could see as somebody come from Nigeria, coming to level 100, he won't come to the hall of residence. He'd rather go there and have one bedroom for himself so they can behave whatever they want to behave. So we realized that people to have capital to pay. They were ready to pay for different types of rooms and different types of services. But we university, because we are public, we are just putting it in at the face figure that all level 100 should pay the same and they should go into a particular room. But now those thoughts are being challenged because people are paying for quality. They are paying for either just only 2 in a room. They don't want to come in the 4 in a room anymore, which is actually differentiating the services. But so we actually tried to solve the problem, but as the people evolved and changed, and we saw a different pattern. In the same way, when you come to systems development, when you are from the beginning, you develop the system in such a way you have got privacy by design. You have solved one problem. But as people begin to use it, they will start be adapting their behavior to things that you never even knew that this thing to be used for this. And by the time as the time goes on, you realize that they will have to change the policy. You have to modify your privacy policies to be able to adapt to the changing behavior of people. So privacy then by default then comes in. Whilst you are deploying and people are using it, we'll start putting other privacy measures to be able to protect those who are using it. That's what I'm trying to say. So privacy by design matters. Privacy by default also matters. Even after we have gained it by design, we also have to monitor how people behave with their software and how they are using it, so that we can be able to know that if they create room for breaches, we can be able to respond to it by default as the time that after we have implemented or deployed the service for them to use. So both of them are legal. Both of them and I believe that in your workplace, some of you are into security, you have come across both. Some things are there, some policies are put within at the design stage. Others, as people are using it and they start putting new guidelines to be able to guide people on how to use it. Especially when we are not even sure of how the system works, whatever we are trying to regulate works, and we are learning as we go on. One of them is social media. When firms it came back early, firms didn't know what to do with it. Because the same social media that was generating value was also creating a mess for others. So do you regulate or you don't regulate? That was the big question. And if you regulate, and then what circumstances are you regulating? Are you regulating entirely or partially? Okay. Good. Let's look at these examples first. Messaging app encrypts every conversation end to end in its core architecture. Privacy by design is built in a system by itself. A fitness app ships with activity sharing set to only me out of the box. Privacy by default, stricter setting applies automatically. So then you can change the setting after you have received the fitness app. A new database schema stores national IDs only as salted hashes. That's by design. Architectural decision at the development time, sorry. A browser blocks third-party cookies from every new user unless they are able to enable them. Default protection with no user action is required. Okay. Yes. Now,
Yes, Prof. So with this, the way the explanation is, it looks like some organizations might need to do both on maybe their product or the way they manage their services. Is it something that we can classify them based on organizations? So, for example, for financial institutions, ideally, both is what will work. So, imagine our mobile app device applications that we have. So, by design, before it even comes out, we have put in all those encryptions, audit, data masking, and all that. Then, when a customer installs the application, you see that there are some things that things that is not enabled for them already. So as and when the customer chooses, the customer can decide to enable that, like location. Sometimes when you're using a QR code on some of our mobile apps, it will ask you whether you want to put on your location. So for such a product, it's like both are supposed to work to make customer experience better, but it might not apply to other industries to have both. So is it ideally to say that both can work for it's an organization difference instead of just the it's being designed or being default to what should be applied?
now your question is technical, but you answered yourself. You said that at the expense of the organization. Some organizations will do both, other organizations will do one. But
So
like
in terms
in
of classification, that's what I'm saying. Can you, like the way we have the this thing for health, this for, can
no, no,
we?
no, no.
Okay.
Privacy by design and this thing is much more about your data governance policy, what you are doing. So you can actually then say that, okay, for this our for, critical systems, privacy by design will take lead. And as users come on board, then we use privacy by default. But for this our less critical systems, we will not need to do privacy by design because we don't even take Ghana card on this one. So in that case, we'll just go with privacy by default. It can be in your data governance policy. But please, it has to be fit for purpose. I think that's something that you said indirectly. For a purpose of you are collecting your account opening, we need your Ghana card. So we have to sorted hashes have to be doing so that we can encrypt it into the database. But when you install the app, certain things like they are default on how much you maybe limits you have set on transfers. Those ones are there by default. If you want higher than that, you can go into the system, use your OTP, and then increase it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? By default, you are to protect you, we are put it at maybe 5,000, but you can increase it to 15,000 out of your own choice based on what you think you are, the kind of business you anticipate. You are allowed to have 15,000, but by default, we are giving you 5,000. That 10,000 extra, you have to activate it yourself so that we can hold you responsible in case there's any breach.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So
Yeah.
you answer your purpose plays a key role. What service is it serving? What's the purpose of developing that particular service? If the purpose involves a critical database, or a critical information, then we will make sure that we have privacy by design inside the system as part at the design stage. Then we can layer it with privacy by default. But if it's a a system that has very low security risk, we may not worry so much about that. But we should, you see, in my view, you should always be monitoring. Should always be monitoring. Some time ago, our cards were not so much important because we had so many multiple cards where we were allowed to use our electoral card, our passport, and even sometimes even your own ID card from organization were being accepted in banks. But then the Ghana card came and one card trumps all cards. So it became very, very important that you have a Ghana card. In some places, they say they have to even verify your biometrics and they want to see the Ghana card number. And in some places, even if you take a photocopy, they don't want the photocopy. They want to see the actual card and feel it in their hands. So there are a lot of things that we may change as we use the systems. And that's why I like privacy by design when we are designing, privacy by default when we are living with the system, when we are living with the policy, we'll go by default. When we are designing in the architecture room, we'll go by design. Okay, thank you. But Hannah, very, very good questions. Very, very good questions. Okay, so the SmartFit bridge, one wearable, 3 jurisdictions. TechnoWave launches a SmartFit wearable. He's a data controller. The Accra Health Initiative, a government partner, gives devices to students in a public school. Computech GmbH, a German company, that's the healthcare analytics that is actually seen on the app. Chelsea Analytics owns the device operating system. Kwame Mensah and plus Linda Boatin, a politician who endorses the program, Kwame Mensah. And Linda Boatin is a journalist who covers it. So that's the situation we have. Months in the students' personal data, heart rates, activity levels, sleep patterns, all of this is leaked online. Investigators trace it to the software vulnerability in Germany, Computech GmbH. TechnoWave had no adequate security in place. Number two, Accra Health Initiative never obtained a proper parental consent from parents to be able to allow to capture their data from data of students. Computech failed the GDPR requirements, left data unsecured in transit and at rest. So when they are transferring the data, it was not encrypted. When it was on their machines too, it was not encrypted. That's what it means. Mr. Mensah used non-anonymized healthcare data in his public speeches when he was vying for his campaign seat at Ayawaso. So he was picking the lead data and he was using to do his campaigns. Linda Barton published individual students' data in graphic for people to see. Chelsea Analytics denied any knowledge of accountability. The public outcry was immediate, and the health exposure ban spanned 3 jurisdictions at once. So what do we do? Scope. The GDPR extraterritorially pulling competent and Chelsea Analytics under EU jurisdiction for processing EU residence data. Okay, that's the GDPR. So that will come after you first. Act 843, that's in Ghana. Primarily to processing within Ghana, making TechnoWave directly liable here. So you see who is liable? TechnoWave. TechnoWave is the one who launched the SmartFit wearable, the data controller. So he is the one in Ghana, not the guy in Abuja is what Ghana is going. Our policy is going for the one in Ghana. So get us right. Penalties. The GDPR ceiling of 20 million or 4% of global turnover drafts the Ghanaian regime. Though Act 843 has had the possibility of imprisonment of the director. So I thought the GDPR comes, the guy is in prison. He's already in prison. How are you going to wait? He comes back and come for your money. So yeah, if I were the Ghanaian person, you say, please, Ghana government, take me first. Before they come and ask me for 20 million, because I'll struggle. I don't have the 20 million. Okay, controller versus processor. Both laws separate the two. The GDPR places heavier direct obligations on the processor. And then Computech as a processor and the likely joint controller is not the main control. Joint control for analytics carry direct liability for the vulnerability that Ghana's act would fail mainly on TechnoWave as a controller. So the problem in Ghana is that a data controller has failed, and the core data controller is the one in Germany. But the one in Germany is the actual processor. GDPR is going for the one in Germany, and by extension, the one in Ghana. Okay. So let's see what will happen. TechnoWave as the controller failed to secure the data and ensure lawful processing. He should have done a data protection impact assessment before the launch. A data protection processing agreement with Computec was not there, so he should have done that. And then real encryption and access control was put in place. So the failure was that TechnoWave should have done an impact assessment, one. Number two, the third party was going to work with in processing people's data, Computec. Should have signed some kind of MOU with them, which is consistent with the GDPR and consistent with Ghana laws. He didn't do that. Accra Health Initiative failed to obtain the lawful basis, parental consent to pick students' data and information and hand it over to Computec. Clear consent management for minors with informed parental consent and oversight of his partner. Okay. Computec. He's a processor and a joint controller. Lack vulnerability in the software handling personal data. Privacy by design could have prevented it across all the development lifecycle. Security audits, penetration and testing, secure transmission. Privacy should have been taken into consideration. And the data collection, data processing, data storage, data retention, data disposal. All of them should have done. Kwame Mensah, recipient, non-anonymized data, health data in public speeches, training on data obligations, and then public data must be anonymized and aggregated. In fact, people can come and sue him because he is using their public data for his own campaign. Linda Watson, who was a journalist, published individual students' health data, which is not the right thing to do. You and your publisher will be held responsible. Journalistic training on data protection law is needed. Balancing public interest against privacy is also needed, especially for minors. Now, the California company, Chelsea Analytics, is under the US law, chiefly the CCPA, as amended by the CPRA and the Federal Trade Commission Act. Even though the data subjects are Ghanaian students, its global operations face scrutiny, like how Nike and how they make their shoes in other countries, they face scrutiny. This one to face scrutiny. And this public denial of accountability could itself be read as a deceptive practice the FTC may pursue. So somebody can petition through the Fair Trade commissions in the US or the Federal Trade Commissions in the US that, please, this has happened. The guy is boasting that he's not. Please, can you do something about it for us and hold him? Okay. Scrutiny so you have to go to the California Privacy Protection Agency and look at it because this is about privacy issue. You don't get anything at the federal level. Per violation fines up to 7,500 per intentional breach. Multiply across service records. So you have 300,000 users times 7,500 is a lot of money. Reputation damage severe, given that children's health data was involved. Then parallel EU scrutiny and the GDPR, as a processor, it could face the same steep fines as Computec. It means that Computec may have to collaborate with his brother Chelsea Analytics in the US to be able to pay whatever it is being sued for. The lesson in a cross-border chain, even the factor furthest from the breach can be the one with the deepest exposure. Okay. So we're going to hold on here. We've done very, very good, interesting discussions on this issue. We've learned a lot of things about how to handle privacy issues, either by design, by default. We've also looked into the different policies that could play at the international level. Next week, we'll look at how to write out your own policy because you will soon be doing your business submissions and And maybe somebody will say, Prof, give us 1 week more, so that after you take us to how to write the policy, then we will do all our corrections and submit. Is that what they are saying, or they are not saying that?
Yeah, Prof, can we do that?
Yeah.
No, we can't.
That's what we are really saying.
Okay. Thank you very much. We'll look at that. We'll look at that. It's well received.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay.
So, Prof, so for clarity, we can wait. I just want to get it clear.
I didn't understand what you're saying. What do you want to get clear?
You said we could, because you're taking us through the policy next week, we can just wait and then submit.
You can wait for what?
We can wait till you extend the deadline on Sakai, then we'll submit it next week. Or Prof, you think about it?
Thank you very much, Prof.
This decision is very interesting. The lecturer said here that he has considered what you have said. Now you
Okay.
are now asking different questions that as if you are the ones convincing me.
Okay, Prof.
David Amma is putting words in my mouth that we can wait, and then after the class and after hey David. Oh, it's not David, this is Richard. Richard rather.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, please.
Okay, please, sorry to take you back, but I step out for a bit when I think it was Wallace. Wallace asked a question if there is a specific number of years for data retention. And when I came back, I think you were explaining, but I heard you say it's based on the organization, the number of years that they will use to retain the data. I don't know if there was something else you said before that, or if that was the.
What I said was that the purpose for which the data was collected, you are supposed to state how long you have to keep it.
Okay.
Data are collected for different purposes. So I can't give you a one-size-fits rule that it covers that you can keep on it. It's called data for different purposes. Some of the data, because they are for security reasons and for healthcare reasons, we may have to keep it for infinitum. Some of the data because some institutions state like university records, some of the records are kept for forever. Other records are expunged after 5 years, and it's in our data protection. It's in our IT policy.
Okay. So for an institution, okay, I will still use the financial institution. Okay. So for example, for a financial institution that's maybe based on Bank of Ghana and Ghana data policies, if they retain a customer's data for let's say 5 years, let's assume that that is what Bank of Ghana is allowing for the institution to keep it. I know that
If Bank of Ghana says after the person has left the bank, you can keep it for 5 years, and after that it can be handed over to them. It's possible. It's possible. It's in the policy.
Okay, so I'm saying this because I know that when the retention is done at the financial institution side, there is also this what's their PR, public public records something. I think it's PRAD or something for archiving. That they do some archiving. So even if there is legally bound for the financial institution to do that after the Bank of Ghana's 5 years, now takes it to the public records for this archiving purpose. In that sense, will you still say that the data is still in retention by the financial institution? Or because it has left them and is being archived, it's not under them. Like as a data owner, as a customer.
Okay, so I told you that you like answering the question that you asked.
Hey.
You done it again. You said you have sent the data. The data is currently not with the bank. The bank, by regulation, is supposed to hand over, because it's a public institution, is supposed to hand it over to another institution. So another institution now also has the data and has its own rules concerning it. So it's no longer the bank's issue.
Yeah, but you as a customer, you can't go to you have to come through the bank again.
The bank it's not going to do.
Hello, Prof.
Unless yes.
I think I don't know if it's me, but you were breaking.
I said the bank is not going to tell you as a user your data is with that public archiving institution.
Okay.
So the question that comes at what purpose does it go to them for? Is it for criminal investigations and security issues so that we can be able to track certain things? Or is for public consumption so that a consumer, a public user can easily go and request, I want to have my information? What was the purpose?
So from where I sit, it's more like a KYC thing for some of them. Because you have an old customer who has been with the institution for more than 10 years or something, and one day just gets up and wants to collect maybe transactional data. I don't know whether when they go on pensions, they want to see their expenditure or what.
So let me say something to you. What is the purpose for which they sent it there? And what are the rules concerning what they are sent it there? Does the rules have a caveat that any person can come and request, or you have to request through the person who sent it there?
So the customer has no idea. I'm asking this from a background point of view. So the customer has no idea there's any archiving. But
that's why,
yeah.
That's why I say it's not there. The only thing that you are forgetting to say is that when the customer was opening his bank account, in the fine detail of the bank account, his records and what is to be down the record is supposed to be communicated to the customer.
Okay. I guess unfortunately that's what we mostly don't do. So
no, you do. It's in that packet you gave us. Now there's people opening online, so you don't even read. The old time you used to give us some packet. It's in those pages. People don't read it. And you don't even ask that question because you probably believe the person even die and leave the account with you. So I keep on, there's something I keep on saying, maybe you are not understanding. What was the purpose for which the data is being collected? And the one who collected it, who then becomes the owner of the data? That thing, if you don't establish it, nobody can request.
Okay.
Please, last time, 2 times, we learned that the data owner is the one who has the final say on the jurisdiction of the everything concerning the data, who can have access to it, the data owner. The day we're doing the hospital one, I mentioned, and we're using the different policies, the different ones. Yes, we're using the Gamma book and all those things. I kept on mentioning that the data owner. So that's almost all the policies, all the frameworks had data ownership, data owner somewhere, roles and responsibilities. So if you don't understand that fundamental part, you will be asking a lot of arbitrary questions, but you answer it yourself.
But Prof, then doesn't it mean that the ownership changes at a point?
So as soon as the ownership, the question, for what purpose? So now you say the ownership has changed. So if you come to me, I don't own your data anymore. It's not with me.
Okay.
You're supposed to answer your question again.
No, I'm saying because of the explanation you just gave, that is the data owner that has the one with the final say on the data.
You said the same thing. You said that you transfer it to the other person. You transfer it to the other person. So I've transferred ownership and everything to another person, according to the law. And even you said by the law, you're not supposed to even let the person know. You are telling us because you are the back end. But that transfer is for a particular purpose. So if we are tracing a criminal, those legalities, it allows us to be able to use that data. But for the everyday person like Manasseh cannot just go and answer that I want to trace Nkrumah's bank account details. No. I'm using your own answer to answer you. So
yeah, I'm trying to make the two because I heard you also saying that the institution that is registered to the DPC is the data owner. So that's okay.
Person
I think
collect data has to register. Controls data has to register. What you are problem you're having is that you're not read the DPC, the Data Protection Act. Every person who is a data collector, collect data or process has to register with it. That's one of the reasons why Bank of Ghana is angry about people being in certain countries and process getting our data and all those kind of stuff. You have to come and register. You pay something, and the registration means that you are following the due process. So that when there is a problem, I can petition DPC to compel you to respond to me. But if you are not, you understand? If you are not registered with them, I can't. What basis am I can compel you? I can only report you. Then they come and sue you that you are collecting data illegally. You are not actually following DP. Anybody collects data within this country, you are supposed to, no matter what it is, you are supposed to actually register with DPC. Anybody collects data and process on the behalf of a subject. It's inside the document. You have to register. You process, you collect, you have to register. Why?
Yes,
Because
please.
it's like how anybody, how Bank of Ghana, anybody who is doing any form of data money collection and then storing it for others. So you're creating like an informal bank. They don't like it at all. So that's why they have got different grades, even for Susu companies and all those things. Because anytime anybody does a semblance of that, you are actually doing something with people's public money. It has to be protected. Protection comes from Bank of Ghana. The same thing with the DPC. As soon as you start collecting people's data information, you are even a crutch, and you have just started. You are collecting Sunday school, Sunday people, children's data, and you enrolling them and taking them to and teaching them AB and all those kind of stuff. You are collecting children's data. Those children have to be protected. Their parents have to be protected. Go and register. That is how strict the law is. But the problem is the law, the DPC doesn't have enough money tracking everybody. So sometimes
Yes.
they'll go for the big guys and come in. Technically, churches are supposed to register. Now churches do tithe book and all those kind of things and follow people, collect people's information for tithe. Sometimes they even ask you how much are you earning. I heard one of the churches in somewhere in Accra, they can call you and tell you that it is time or they are paid, you bring that. How did you know it is time? And somebody was joining a church. And they asked him that how much does he earn? And he was asking a question that why are they asking that question? He said it's part of the thing that so that we can anticipate what you will pay for tithe. I'm serious about it. Yeah, I'm not joking. So somebody has a calculation with somebody, all those information you're asking, you are going to register. Please, now are we now okay with what I was saying?
Yes, please. Thank you, Prof.
Good questions. Anybody who needs clarity based on the questions I will ask, you are now more confused. So if you want clarity,
No, sir.
yes.
I
Time
think
is
you've
up. Show me.
yes, sir. Yeah, but I needed clarification with regards to the submission, the new data to be given.
The new what?
The new data will be given since you've postponed the submission date from tomorrow to a newer date.
I'm coming. Hold on, please.
Okay, sir.
What cohort are you?
What too, sir? Your favorite quote.
I'm opening my Sakai and trying to look at the dates that are there so that I can make some adjustments that will benefit all of us.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Why are you saying thank you very much?
18th July.
It's reflected. Okay, I thought it's not showing on it's not showing that it's updating on my machine. I think I have to refresh.
Yes,
I
sir.
did it and it didn't work. So
Mm.
if it's working on your end, then
Oh, if 21st would 21st wouldn't be bad.
what I don't understand. You said 21st what?
You did 18th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Prof, because we'll have the class on the Friday evening, the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd appreciate if we could give us like a demo between Sunday or Monday.
David, I was talking 21st, you're adding 19th.
21st.
The first is a day that one of the classes meeting. So why should I do it on the day a class is meeting?
For us to submit.
You don't get it. It is not fair on them. You are farther away from the time. I can do 20th. No, I can do 20th,
Okay.
not 20.
Okay, 20th will be okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Because by 21st, we would have started the presentations. Most likely.
Why not, sir? Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm working on it. Please let me finish. Else you confuse.
Okay. Oh, we didn't hear you, so that's. Say it as reflected.
For quarter 2, no.
It was reflected for quarter 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that's for quarter 2 now. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Honorable members, I believe we can clap for Prof.
Wow, you parliament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are most grateful. You've made our Friday. It's really thank God it's Friday.
You're welcome.
Okay. Second, a group call you with regards to their work for some clarification.
No.
You can send me a WhatsApp. And if I respond and you don't understand, then we can talk on phone.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Hey, you're trying to behave like Argentina.
The questions being asked, I'm only asking the same questions for the class. So, sir, please forgive me.
Why do you want to see the FIFA president?
Because Spate was blood from Canada.
As for FIFA, nobody wants to see anything. Because I think that is where our GFA people also get their power from. They are learning from the master.
Serious. Sir, but the kind of wicked things the female World Cup had, the male World Cup is nowhere close to it too.
I heard a lot of complaints about it. Even US was complaining. I didn't know that it was very bad like that.
Violent. As if they are playing Munchedi at Choco.
Serious. So I don't know. I think football is losing its decency. And the way the world is, you can't create another football agency to compete with the former one. Like it would have happened. But the Arabs can do it. They have money. They can create one and invite people to come and play. You can't prevent them from playing football.
Yeah, they can. They can.
You can do one and invite people to come. Like how the people do Grand Prix and for the motor racing, they create their own, and people come and go and compete. They create their own Dubai Open, and the people go and compete. So if they do it and the players will go and find there, after some time, what Ronaldo did and this has created a market for their league, and so they can create their own, and people will go and compete. It's the money that will talk. If they create
Yeah.
something that compete with the Western one, we are in trouble.
And they'll silence all of us.
Anyway, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Have a good evening, sir, and then enjoy the weekend.
Okay, so now we don't have any issue. Almost all of you have an extension, so
Yes, sir.
it's all good.
Good night.
Okay. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow at 7.
Yeah.
Please connect on time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We'll collect on time.
Is this your see you tomorrow is deceptive? What is see you tomorrow?
No, I mean online. We are going to have
It's
a session.
confusing. It's confusing. That's what you did the last time.
Okay, please see virtually meet at 7. Please don't be late. Join with your cameras off mute. Thank you. Prof, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Honorable members, as many who wants to go off, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Court is adjourned to next week.
Is this a court? What is a court?